do anything out of sync?
I think her biggest deal was she starred in a pilot.
Pilot? What's a pilot?
Well, you know the shows on TV?
I don't watch TV.
Yeah, but you are aware that there's an invention called television, and on this invention they show shows, right?
Yeah.
Well, the way they pick TV shows is they make one show. That show's called a pilot. Then they show that one show to the people who pick shows. And on the strength of that one show, they decide if they want to make more shows. Some get chosen and become television programs. Some don't, become nothing. She started one of the ones that became nothing.
I was waiting for like a DJ Kelly.
You're not wrong. Welcome to Couch Pilots. All of you are my friends. It's a show that dares to fly into the unknown territory of awful television pilots of the past. My name is Jason, and with me is the man who doesn't stand a ghost of a chance. It's Captain Philip Ressisher. Good evening. I love you.
Good evening. I love you too. Ooh, ghostly goose.
Ghostly goose.
First of all, before we get started, I had a question I wanted to ask you.
Please, let's get this out of the way first. So let's get some question asking music.
Okay. Yeah, does this thing. So, one of the things I've never asked you is how you felt as a young child when your parents divorced. That final time you saw your dad drive away in the U-Haul. Well, how are you feeling when that happened?
When I was 25 and living away from home, like, how was I feeling? I was feeling like, why did this happen 4 years ago? That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
All right.
Last week, I pummeled Blake about the brow for not asking me questions about my personal life when all I ever hear is about how many women he fucked, and more specifically, how he fucked them. I don't want to hear that shit. But I will ask because it's a part of you, and God knows that Clayton needs that kind of attention. But last week,
wow,
you're the first. You're the first to say that kind of thing. You know that's true, right?
Okay,
that's why you go to the Moose, right? Because everyone knows you, everyone gives you attention, everyone loves you there, right? That's why you go to the Moose.
Yeah, I guess so.
Let's fucking hide in a fucking bushel, all right?
Bushel.
Bushel of squirrel nuts?
Isn't that an old Bible song? You know,
I don't know any Bible songs except Jesus loves me, this I know, 'cause the Bible tells me so. Are you doing good? How are you doing? 38 years we've been doing this.
I'm fine. Thank you for taking interest in my personal life and asking me personal questions on down here.
Is it awkward when your parents are in the same room?
No,
that's a legitimate question because my parents have. I don't remember the last time they were in the same room.
Yeah, your parents are insane because
we were in the same room with both of Jason's parents.
I know. I'm saying, how is
was it awkward for you?
No, it's not awkward for me. Is it uncomfortable or is it odd?
I think I learned not so late in life, maybe in my late 20s, early 30s. People always say you gotta respect the elders. So that's not true. You don't have to respect elders because old people can be just as stupid and immature as I was when I was a young guy. It takes all kinds, as they say. I've known people in their 70s who act like they're still in high school. And I think no matter when a relationship ends, there's always a period in which things aren't great between those two parties.
Sure.
And I think I was in that period in my mid-20s when my parents got divorced. But there'd be times, if someone passes away or something, people come together for that. And for a few years, it was interesting when my parents were around each other. I always made a mental note. Thank God, as the years have gone by, it's become more and more common. Just past Thanksgiving, my brother in Bloomington, he had Thanksgiving at his house, and they were both there. Do they interact very much? Not really. But my mom really likes my dad's new wife, and
they're civil. And,
yeah, absolutely. My mom will talk to her. They sit down and chat for a while.
Hey, well, your mom's a fucking saint, though. That's the other part of it.
My mom
your
absolutely is the more mature of the two.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Your mom is a saint.
So I do make a mental note of that when that happens. But it means the world to me that you care enough to ask, Blake.
It's bizarre to me that they were married for 20-some years, I would have.
Five-ish.
25-ish years,
yeah,
and they got a divorce after that long.
Well, okay, let's welcome our guest real quick.
Oh, sorry.
Tim's in the house.
I hear divorce, my ears perk up, but I can't shut up.
Welcome back to the show, Tim.
Thank you, thank you. Divorce is my favorite topic of all time now.
Your parents, they did not get a divorce?
They did not.
Your
no.
mom died.
My mom died.
Whew.
So my dad is remarried. I have a stepmom sort of weirdly, but yeah.
How old were you when your mom died?
35?
Yeah. So 7, 8 years ago?
Yeah.
Wow.
That'd be tough. I know it's coming. My dad always talks about death, and he's like, "You're the guy in charge when I'm dead. You know, you got all the everything goes to and through you for your
Oh,
siblings."
because you're the eldest.
Yeah, and I'm probably I'm the best of them too.
Just keep it all, man.
No, I don't.
Burn those bridges now.
Absolutely not. I've seen that so many times, and I've never seen it within my family on my paternal or maternal side. I'm not going to allow it to happen if and when. We don't know. They might do something to where my parents can live forever. We don't know yet. And so when that happens, there's no way I'm going to let the division of finances,
Church and state.
Right.
or church and state,
But if
divide
you-
my family proper.
My point is, though, if you burn the bridges now, it's not about finances.
I will do
the
what you
finances
say.
come in later.
I will
know.
do what you say.
You won't look like an asshole then. You'll just be like, well, I'm already don't talk to those guys.
It's just you, and you have a sister, right?
I have a sister, yeah, also named Sarah. We have so much in common.
With an
Jason,
H
me
or
and
not?
you. With an H.
High five it. Nice.
Blake, any siblings named Sarah?
No.
Look at this fucking guy, no siblings named Sarah.
Fucking
Let's
guy.
you and me pile on this episode. But yeah, so your parents are still alive too, Blake. Both of you, by some miracle of God, they're both alive.
Yeah, both of my parents are the sickest people I know, and they're both still alive. Seriously, physically, they are bad.
Your mom, I'm going to guess, probably died of cancer.
That's what kills everybody these days. Yeah.
What about your dad? Is he in pretty good health?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Blake, you are very. I mean, I know we had your mom on recently. Called her on the phone, and she's like, "You can call me sometime when you're not podcasting." We both
Right.
jokingly said, "We're never going to fucking call you, Lynn." Outside of that, but you are. I think you have a pretty big emotional attachment to your mother.
Oh yeah, for sure. I will be a complete mess when my mother passes away. I grew up with my mom. You know, she for sure. So. And actually, to be honest with you, like the passing of my stepdad, like I always thought my mom would go first.
Or hoping.
No, not hoping at all. Because she's always been a very sickly person. You know, I mean, she's a very sick person, and so I guess I was. And so this kind of like made it like, oh shit, like okay, there's one down. You know what I mean? And then there's all this
With your stepdad dying, it made it real.
It made it real. Yeah, it was. I was, but. Yeah, no, for sure. I don't know how I will handle that. That's going to be very difficult.
I think you mentioned it before on the show, but at what age did your stepdad enter your life?
I was probably in 6th grade.
That's an important person, man.
Sure.
It's an important person. Yeah.
Yeah, they were married for almost 35 years almost.
Long time.
Incredible.
Yeah, some.
Now, Tim says 25 years your parents got a divorce, Jason? Why don't they just stick together? At what period of time or at what age in a person's life do you feel like we're at the point of no return?
Yeah, that's what. It's not that I think they should stay together just to stay together. It's that, like, you haven't worked out your problems in 25 fucking years, but, like, you're just going to keep going on with that.
You're married
Like,
for
that's a weird
13?
12.
12, okay. So what do you think the breaking point is?
I think it's 12. 12. I think it's 12. 10 to 12 years. I think is
can't figure it out.
If you haven't figured it out by now, you're not going to.
Cut bait.
Ironically,
yeah. And I asked for divorce several times, and she just told me no.
She just said no to you.
She said,
like-
maybe
she's like,
forgot I can
don't think
swallow
so."
this fucking sword right here.
Now hold on a minute, and I don't mean to cut you off.
No.
Now, did you you use it as a threat, or did you say I want a divorce, and she said no, or did you use it as like a threat, like, well, fine, we're just gonna get divorced?
No, I never did it as a threat. Okay. I was very calculated and said, hey, this sucks. I'm really unhappy. I think we should get a divorce for sure.
I just want to,
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I was very calm about it. And she would just say, oh, instead of that, we should go to this weekend retreat, this counseling fucking whatever thing. And so we just did that instead. But when it was finally, that was the line I used, Blake, of like, this is not getting better. This relationship is not getting better. And she's like, if you believe that, we should get a divorce. And I said, yeah, I believe that.
Right. I've believed that.
Yeah. And she said, I'm calling an attorney tomorrow. And I said, okay, good.
Oh, that was the last straw.
And we were totally divorced 3 months later.
That's
that was it.
I was dating a lady a few years ago, and I got to a point where I was like, we keep having the same kind of argument, and if I let it will just happen for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I had to say, I can't do that anymore. I don't want to live the rest of my life like having this argument, walking on eggshells. there has to be like I'm not a high quality person. I'm not a successful person. I'm far from what it would be considered
Billy
a
West
catch.
fan.
And I'm a huge. I don't know about you guys. I love the voice actor Billy West
I've seen your house. Ren and Stimpy fucking pictures all over.
everywhere.
Yeah, it's
signed,
crazy.
signed by the
Signed.
cartoon. Oddly enough.
Yeah, they're signed by the person who voices it.
Yeah, all photos of guys we would never recognize
Right,
because
right.
you only hear his
Yeah.
voice.
I'm
These
like,
are my
who-
friends. These are my family.
I'm like, who is this guy? He's like, well, in 1983,
Thank you very much. I was hoping it'd bleed over to this show.
it wasn't going to. I was going to save it and like be a zinger later on, but
I fucked it up.
Tim brought it up.
But I'm hoping that there is someone out there that is not a crazy person, and I'm just a good enough person to catch that kind of lady. But I don't know that that's true. I don't think it's going to happen for you.
No.
Tim's confirming.
Nope, we're the single guys now, Jason. It's me and you. This is your future.
I'm glad you bring this
it's
up
just
too.
me and you hanging out.
Well, I don't know that it is because we often ask Tim to hang out, and Tim's fucking busy all the time.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I have children that need my
They don't want anything to do with it.
fathering.
How many days a week do you have them? Like, I know you see them every day for school and everything, but how many
Yeah.
days a week do you have your kids? Because Brian will put it out there, who wants to do this? And then once it gets down to who's actually going to do the thing, there's a separate text, and Brian's always like, Tim's never fucking here.
I have them either 4 or 3 days a week, depending on the week. Yeah.
But he's at the point in his life that is the age of those kids is very, and mostly with the circumstances that have happened, it is very important for the first 2
I
or
agree.
3 years to focus on them, to transition them.
I agree.
Then when they get old enough, fuck them, just go party and have a good
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just so
That's
you
the
know, Brian's probably not going to be around in a couple of years. So, I think spending time with your kids right now is important. But
You think he's going to die?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's going to have a heart attack and die. And then I'll be right behind him. I'll be right. So,
Oh, if I don't go before both of you, I will be pissed off.
I
I was
think-
going to say I have a hard time believing Blake outlives anybody.
Blake has entered fucking Keith, whatever. From,
Richards?
Yeah, Keith Richards territory.
Jinx.
He's pickled himself. You are going to be some sort of weird kind of raisin
To
man.
me, it's going to be the biggest punishment God could ever give me is to stay in this world.
The rules of Jinx. You're not supposed to be talking right now.
You owe me a
believe this
Coke.
guy?
I don't know. I don't know the rules of Jinx. No. Yeah. No. It's just weird. I turned around and I was 47. You know, like I think that my dad's passing like made it click in my brain. Like, oh, you know, you're not 25. You're not 30 anymore. You know, my mom's talking to me about the will and all this stuff, and I'm like, this is like real now. Like this is this is the next stage of your life. You know what I mean? And I'm at the point I'm like, ugh.
And then once they're gone,
The other stages.
you're up.
Oh,
And I'm not talking about that,
I
that
will ha-
continent
I'll have
east
my-
of Asia. I'm talking you are up.
I will have my batter's glove on. I'll be pine tarring that bat. I'll be up on deck swinging, ready just to strike out.
As much as Blake wants to die, I don't think he's ever heard the concept of suicide. And nor
No, I'm just too much of a pussy to
nor
do
would I
it.
ever suggest it.
No, I'm
saying
just
that,
too much of a pussy to do it.
all right.
That's
I don't want you
that's
to go.
all. That has always been my problem. Is I want to be dead, but I don't want to be the one doing it. I'm kind of the pussy too pussy. Like I just want to have a heart attack and die.
What if you just hire an assassin and you don't know when it's coming?
That's fine. And if
So you will hire an assassin,
no, I can't hire my own assassin because I'll be like,
But you're cool if somebody else does.
yeah, that's fine. If you guys want.
unknowing to you.
My
unbeknownst
birthday's
to
coming up in March. It'll be a great present.
We can probably pull some money, get something going.
Yeah, I mean,
Blake has
at the-
consistently
at the-
been the guy who's most excited about his birthday at his advanced age.
Happy birthday. Your birthday cake has arsenic in it. Enjoy.
We'll figure out a way to kill you, buddy.
I don't. I think it's healthy not to be scared of death.
You're not scared of it. You want the warm embrace of the cold.
I mean, I'm not a
forever after.
reckless person.
I disagree.
Well, I'm not jumping out of planes and like robbing liquor stores and like.
So if someone's interested in extreme sports, then they might be a reckless person. All right.
Do you drink Mountain Dew?
The Dan
No,
Cortez.
not
is of
really.
the
Not
room.
as
All right.
much as I used to.
Well, then you got to jump out of airplanes. If you drink Mountain Dew, you got to. I've seen the commercials.
Oh, yeah.
Right. That's
It's
why.
like a requirement.
That's when I stopped. When that ad campaign came out, I was like, "Fuck
Extreme
this."
sports enthusiasts love doing the do.
I was like, I tried
Can't
this.
do that, do.
I tried the skateboarding and stuff, but I'm not doing this jumping out of a plane.
Oh my God, Blake, unhappy, willing to grab death by the gonads. I think he was doing the motion the last episode. You were talking about grabbing gonads. Something that could maybe help with that, and we were talking about it a little bit between the shows, is therapy. Now, Tim, you said we could talk about this because sometimes therapy is a pretty private thing. And I've never personally been to therapy, but I'm not against it. I strongly suspect that I would gain a lot. If
Grow as a person?
And perhaps that is
God forbid. For the person that says to me, you said to me not too long ago.
Right, here it comes.
You're like, to me, you're doing a disservice. That if if you go to therapy and you don't try to get better, then you're doing yourself a disservice.
Right.
And you just said, I should probably go to therapy to get better.
What would you go to therapy?
Hold on, you're saying the same thing, right? If you go to therapy and you're not willing to put the work in, then you're throwing your money away. It's a disservice,
Right, but I'm saying you're saying here that you could probably benefit from therapy, but you don't go do it.
But that's like a financial thing too, right?
I'll pay for it.
You have insurance? Don't you have insurance?
Sure, but still,
It's got to be cheap.
all right. What were you saying?
I think everybody should go to therapy. Therapy's fucking awesome.
You said, "What should I go to therapy for?"
Oh yeah. What should you go to therapy
That's
for?
what you were saying. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, Blake. What do you think that I should go to therapy for?
Fear of commitment.
But I look at like Blake and like he's fucking miserable in his commitment.
He's going to tell the therapist, all right, here. See this guy right here?
I'm surrounded by fucking
here's listen
relationship
to,
failure.
He's committed to several women.
I've got an hour. Okay, here's just listen to 20 minutes of this fucker on this podcast and tell me why I should, not be scared of commitment.
Blake, what should I go to therapy for?
I think, I would think your fear of commitment. You're going to be lonely. I worry about you being lonely.
But aren't you miserable in your commitment?
Right, but here's the thing: is I'm me, and if you don't give yourself the chance to, maybe you can have that thing that everybody wants to have, like these people that are married for like 40. I mean, obviously you're not going to be married for 40, but you're restricting yourself from the possibility of happiness because you see people being unhappy.
Blake just told you you're not going to live till 80. Did you catch that?
He's right.
He's just going to try to slide that in there.
I don't think I'm gonna get a 45.
80 is not all that old. I think you can make it till 80. I got faith in you, Jason. Blake,
You're not going to be married for
definitely
40 years.
Why not?
I agree.
It's going to take him 10 years to get married. By then he's 46.
I'm just trying to trick a lady into marrying me right now.
No, you're not. You're not even trying to you don't want to live in the same house with another woman.
Oh, preach.
What did you go to therapy for?
We did 10 years of marriage therapy.
So
From almost the beginning of your marriage,
Almost the beginning.
first 2 years.
First 2 years, yep. We were in there a couple times. Yep. And then
Can we talk
every year
offline
since.
about that too? Because
Marriage therapy?
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah. The do's and don'ts, pros and cons.
was most
Okay.
of your
definitely.
therapy couples, or did you do like one-on-one therapy too?
Most of it was couples. The last year that we were married, right before the divorce, is when I started going individual. Because I was miserable. And my wife at the time wanted to go to couples counseling. And I was like, I'm not going back to that. Like, we've done that.
You've
to
done it
death,
for years.
and it's never fixed anything. So I'm going to go to individual therapy instead. And it was great. And then we were divorced like 3 months later.
Okay, so the person you went to for individual was different than your couples.
Yeah.
And so what can I add? If it's too personal, you don't have to get into it. But like when you went to one-on-one therapy, what was something that you focused on there?
Saying no. I'm really bad at saying no, especially to my now ex-wife, and setting boundaries.
Do you still see that person?
No, not anymore. No, I saw him all throughout the divorce and for another 4 or 5 months following the divorce, and that was it.
And he said, "I'm cured."
Yeah, I was like, I'm good, bro. I'm like,
Tim's like, no, I don't need to see you anymore.
yeah.
Boundary.
During the divorce and stuff, he's like, people always think that when you get a divorce, it's going to solve all your problems. I'm here to tell you that's not true.
I want you to keep giving me money all the time.
Yeah.
Man.
After I got a divorce, I was like, dude, you were wrong, man. That solved every problem I've had. I'm good now. Like,
I always say that I love The Sopranos over here from the HBO, and a big component of that show was Tony Soprano going to his therapist. Week after week, he kind of talked things out with her. I'm curious, Tim. When you got to the point where you're saying I'm done with therapy, I think today's going to be my last day.
Yeah.
What does the guy say to that? Because obviously, if you're a therapist, you want to keep someone on as long as possible, so you can keep talking to that person, milking them for their money, keep quote unquote helping. And I'm sure to some degree there is help there, absolutely. But I mean, if you're a therapist, you're never going to be like, well, I don't think I should see you anymore. I think we're done. You can write your last check to me, and I'll never get another dime from you. That's not what they want to do. What does the last conversation look like with a therapist?
It was actually closer to that than you would think. Yeah, because I was sitting there thinking like, all right, how am I gonna? It's like I was breaking up with him or something. You know, like how do I end this fucking?
So
thing?
it wasn't like in 3 sessions from now I'm going to be done. It's like you went to the last one and you sprung it on him that this was the last one.
I didn't spring it on him. I was sitting there thinking like, how do I bring this up? And I just said like, yeah, I mean, I've been feeling really good. I'm just in a good space. Thank you for all the help you've given me. Like it's really helping. I'm listening. I'm doing the work. And by the end of it, he's like, well, do you think you need another one? And I said, I don't think so. And he's like, all right, you're good.
So he was willing just to cut ties.
And he gave me a certificate with a little gold embossed fucking thing.
Fuck that.
Blake,
Can you make a copy of that for Blake?
It said you graduated.
This is bullshit.
Send Blake.
Why am I putting myself through this for a fucking certificate?
Sometimes Blake will be like, you know what, I keep searching for pens. I can't find any pens. What happens when Jason shows up next week with a whole fucking bag full of pens? Next week I'm coming heavy with a certificate for you, buddy.
Just all kinds of certificates. He brings me trophies just so I feel good about myself. I've got like a whole. I bet you brought me
Laundry
20.
basket.
I bet you brought me 20 trophies.
I washed them all. You can toss them out if you don't
No,
want.
I'm not going to toss them out. But it's
I
just,
want you to bring back Guys in a Bowling Alley. I really do.
Well,
That was a great show.
I did get offered to do an episode in the apartment if we wanted to.
So Blake
Guys in an apartment.
Blake loves bowling. He had 8 episodes. I think you created the artwork for Guys in a
I
Bowling
was
Alley.
on. I was on 2 of them.
Well, I think it was a really fun idea for a
was fun.
show. I wish that you would do it again in some capacity. I know it was a heavy thing because you had to like carry all this shit, take it to the bowling alley, set it up.
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon, weird times, weird hours, but there was something to it. And now you have trophies to boot.
Oh yeah.
I think with podcasts, it's not the effort it takes to do the show; it's the effort to plan it and schedule it.
Right.
Was that what you found too?
Yeah, for the bowling alley for sure.
For sure.
That podcast was hard to schedule for.
Yeah, to get all the guests and to reserve,
And to get,
all
the
shit.
shit over there.
Yeah, it's a big commitment just to fucking set it up.
That was
yeah.
fun. I did a couple episodes of that too. It was fun. I had a good time with it. Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else? Oh, you know what? Tim said recently, no one listens to your fucking show.
Yeah, he said it last week. He said nobody listens to your.
He did a thing where
he said, "I'm not going to plug my show because nobody fucking listens to your show."
He did a thing where he
a lot of
pointed at
stink in the
both of
voice,
us
yeah.
at the same time, and he did a thing where his eyes went different directions, and he locked eyes with us at the same time. He says, "You guys are fucking idiots. Your show's stupid." And I said, "You're right. What do we do, Tim? How do we have a successful program here?"
You have to You have to talk about shows that people have heard of and seen.
Laverne and Shirley, that's a good one.
Yep, that's a good one. That'd be a good one.
Okay.
Something-
Happy Days.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a good one
You
too.
guys do exclusively shows that nobody's heard of.
Just Norman Lear shows.
Should we do any like we should we do a Billy West like
Oh, I love
anthology
that guy.
podcast?
Did you know I love Billy West?
Yeah, I've heard it.
Yeah, Billy West. Yeah, he's got a huge
His
catalog.
catchphrase.
If only we knew somebody who like knew what Billy West's whole catalog
Right.
was. You know.
Too bad somebody couldn't like get in contact with him
Right. Yeah. Via email.
on the alt right Twitter.
What's the number to your therapist?
His name is Phil Shirts.
Phil Shirts with a Z?
Yeah, with a Z.
Fuck right, I want that.
Stupid name.
He helped me immensely. Stupid fucking name.
He's a total toolbox too. I always say that. I always have to
But he did help you though, right?
Yeah, he helped. Yeah, but
Is
he
he
was
a
a
white
total
guy?
toolbox. Yeah, of course.
Okay,
he's a
that's
white
all
guy.
I like is white
Phil
guys.
Shirts.
Okay. So you said you went to marriage counseling multiple times through.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously you had different therapists.
Yeah, 3 or 4 throughout the years. Yeah.
Okay, so were they predominantly female or male or split?
They, I'd have to go back and count them, but I think we had 4 in total and 3 were men.
Okay.
I preferred men. And so did she, actually.
Really?
Yeah, weirdly enough, yeah.
3 or 4 therapists throughout the year. Do you ever run into them in public?
Yeah.
And how the fuck is that? You're telling this person
Tim's strutting by in his fucking Tesla going, that's fucking great. You guys did not do the trick.
Yeah. Well, the one we saw the longest was a guy named Darren, and we saw him out of the 10 years. We saw him for probably 7 of them or something like that. And then obviously got divorced, didn't see him for a while. Saw him at Chili's, of all places. And, therapists, they can't, like, talk to you out in public. They have to wait for you.
I don't know that.
No,
So-
I was just about ready to comment on that.
So
Yeah.
you saw him at Chili's, and if he sees you, and you know that he sees you, he can't say anything to you. He has to wait
shouldn't.
for you to engage.
It's like an ethical violation.
and then
you're
all
not
he
supposed to-
can say is hi. He can't.
I had
yeah.
no idea. Even if you engage him, he can't say anything other than hi.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
basically.
once you engage him, it's fine. I think the main thing is he doesn't if therapy is private, you don't want to tell anybody that you're in therapy. He doesn't want to like
out you.
out you.
He doesn't want to announce to everyone, oh, this is Tim. I'm his therapist. Tim is super fucked up. He doesn't say that.
No, I was alone. I was just picking up a takeout order, and I saw him. He was with a friend of his at the bar, and we made eye contact, and I pointed him and said, "Hey, Darren, it's good to see you again." And we shook hands, and he said, "How are you doing?" And I said, "I'm doing really good. I got a divorce." And he just sort of quietly nodded and
Sure.
said, "Yeah, that was just a matter of time, wasn't it?" I said, "Yes, it was. I wish you would have told me that 8 years ago."
That's the biggest slap in the face of all. Hey, Darren, this is my situation. It's not great. I hope you can help me with it, Darren. Immediate day one.
I've spent all this time on college.
This guy's getting a fucking divorce.
Yeah.
And then, like, you go to him for 5 years. He's milking you for every cent. You don't see him for 3 years. Like, I got a divorce. Yeah, I fucking knew that day one. Tell me day one.
Right?
You tell me day one. You went to the school. You fucking tell me I'm getting divorced.
But Tim, if I would have told you, I wouldn't have had this Lexus out here. My wife wouldn't have had these tits on her.
Right.
Jesus.
What a prick, Darren.
Fuck
that.
Darren.
Fuck him. Fuck you, Darren. I know who you are. Piece of shit.
Darren, you're dead to me.
I'll look into therapy. Anything else?
I'll go with
Call
you.
Phil Shirts.
Hey, Jason, if you want me to go with you, I'll go with you. No, seriously.
Couples therapy?
No, I'm just saying. I will go with you for support, and I'll sit out in the waiting room if you
I was
need
gonna
that.
say, I thought he was mooching out of your therapy. Like you'd pay for it. He would just kind of slide in there.
Blake's going to take over the whole time.
The therapist calls Jason the next day. And go, yeah, your problem is him. I mean, you know what? Here's your $50 back.
Yeah.
I mean,
$50.
Quit hanging out with that dude.
You're gonna get a divorce, Jason. Just pull the Band-Aid off.
Tell me
To be
day
honest with
one.
you, Jason, you'd be married and happy if you didn't hang out with that cocksucker.
I'm happy just the way things are. No regrets.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captains have turned on the
Just remember that with my eulogy.
And stop talking about Billy West.
No regrets. Has this podcast claimed some of my relationships? Sure. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. Because
Do you think
know
it's just the podcast that caused it?
No. I've
Okay.
got a severe emotional disorder.
Is there more than one? I know you've had the one
I
hated
don't
that you did the
know.
podcast.
Nurse Courtney, I don't think loved it, but I think I seriously probably could have married Courtney because I think she was a girl who was just like, how old am I? 25. God damn, I need to get fucking married. All my cousins got pregnant at 19.
She was cute, too.
Courtney was a good-looking girl.
Yeah.
But I think that's a girl I could have married. I don't think she hated it. I don't think she loved it. I think she just accepted that I did this, which is about the best you can ask.
That's
for.
like Molly. I mean, I don't think
that the
she,
best?
I don't think she likes it. I think she just accepts. Hey,
Sadly so.
my stupid boyfriend or my stupid son. I mean, my stupid husband does this stupid thing, but at least he's out of my hair for a couple.
I don't think women understand that this is the way that we feel like we can. First of all, there's that. Thank you.
This right now, there's a fire, right in the middle of us. We're around a fire and we're doing guy stuff. It's just there's microphones too. Ooh, ow, shit. Hot.
The board is a fire. We're cavemen. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
This is in our DNA.
It's a reason for us to get together and commiserate with each other,
Yep.
and then talk about how fucked up Tim is and why he needs to go to fucking therapy for 30 years.
That's right. I'm more mentally stable than you guys now. I didn't start out that way.
I think you probably were when we met. You're probably.
I'd been in therapy for
Well,
a
I'm
long
glad
time.
you're past that and you feel like you're in a good spot. I really do. I love Tim. I'm so glad when he
yeah.
comes on the show.
No,
he's
it's a
always
good time.
fun. He's always got a bunch of great information. And
If he wasn't, I was hanging out with this fucking kid. We'd be doing stuff all the time.
How often do you see Brian outside of the podcast? And because, like you said, you have your kids a lot, and then
Yeah.
on one of the days you don't have your kids, you're fucking that broad.
That's right. So I'm a very, very busy man. Wolford comes over every Wednesday for the podcast, and then maybe once a month now, sort of socially. But it's hard. It's hard to find the time.
Last question before we move on. Your podcast challenge, which has had a surprise, maybe not surprising, but just a lot of success.
Surprising.
You've had a lot of success. It's honestly very cool. I'm green with jealous rage.
You should be. It is pretty cool.
I am. For sure.
I need to talk to Phil Shirts about it. But it's had a lineup that has recently changed.
Yeah.
And one of the members, the new members of the squad, is a guy that goes by the name of Zach.
Right.
And Zach
'Cause
is
that's his
like
name.
right? Is his name?
Yeah, that's why he goes by it.
Is
Yeah.
he a Lego maniac?
Oh, is he a what?
A Lego maniac.
I haven't asked.
I don't-
but
I
Ask him.
I
You
don't
better
know.
ask him.
I will.
But Zach is like the what's that guy's name? Pinata or whatever his name from fucking Journey.
Bronson Pinchot?
Remember he was the Filipino guy.
Oh,
He's like, I'm eating out of the garbage can.
Yeah,
but when I'm not eating out of the garbage can, I like to go to the karaoke bar and I sing Journey songs.
Sounded exactly like the old the dead guy.
And then Journey,
He's not dead.
He's not dead.
He's not dead?
And
No,
then
he's on
Journey
the-
calls him and says, "Would you like to be in Journey?" And the guy fucking comes into the phone. He's like, "Are you fucking serious? You're my favorite band, and I'm the lead singer." That's what happened to Zach, right?
Yeah.
He loved your podcast.
Yeah.
Turns out he lived close to you.
Yeah.
And now he's on the fucking podcast.
Yeah.
How does that work out? How's it going?
It was, in the first 6-8 months of doing the podcast, he reached out because we just mentioned Peoria offhand, and so he tweeted at us through that alt-right messaging platform. And said, like, holy shit, are you actually in Peoria? And we said, yeah. And then, like, the next week he came in and said it on a show. And then throughout the years, he's probably come on once or twice a year. And we
That's
see him
funny,
at,
'cause
like, the challenge events.
We were only asked to be on once. That's pretty fucking weird. Wow.
We're not tapped into that.
Jason's been on twice.
Oh.
You were probably invited. Actually, he wasn't invited, was he?
I think he was invited.
I
I think
don't
you were
think I
invited.
was.
We went and grabbed dinner and then...
Oh, yeah, you probably guys wanted to go eat some shitty fucking restaurants. That's why I said no.
Schooners. You like Tenderloins?
Nah.
He likes anything fried. You would have been fine there. But he's a guy apparently. So he's been on a few times. And you guys started your own. Was it the Survivor podcast? You'd watch the
did.
Survivor show, and now that you've had a lineup change with your popular challenged program, he's now become a fixture in that.
Right.
How has that gone? Having this third person become an integral part of the show.
It's been an adjustment because Amanda was the note taker. Sheila's the one that kind of broke down what the
right.
episode was,
Yes.
and so now that's on me.
Why didn't you just give that to Zach?
Maybe I should have.
It's hard to take notes and do the show at the same time.
It is, yeah. So it's a different experience watching the show that way. But
We have the
it's been
luxury
good.
of these pilots like being, sometimes 50, 60 years old. We can watch them on the internet, pause them, take notes, whatever. But you guys watch the challenge in real time,
Yep.
and then directly afterwards
Yep.
you shoot it. or record your episode.
Right.
So that's got to be a difficult thing as far as taking notes. But so you've taken over that responsibility?
I have, and that sucks. But it's all right.
How do you like?
what I
How
do.
has the transition gone between one member to Zach there?
I much prefer it.
Oh, you much prefer.
I much
it.
prefer this lineup. Yeah, for sure.
How is the audience reaction to this?
It is not. So our listenership has not gone up or down. It has remained exactly the same, and it's been exactly the same for like 4 years or something like that. So it's been
That
nothing.
is insane to me
Yeah.
that you have such a that's a drastic. Like for me, the best things are always like 2 guys and a girl or 3 guys and a girl. That's the best combination.
2 guys, 1 cup.
2 guys, a girl, and a pizza place, whatever it is. But so you've actually
2 broke girls. That's my favorite.
and Garrett Morris. That's right.
They can't pay the rent. Uh-oh.
But you guys have actually annexed a lady, brought in another fella, and maintained
Not even
listenership.
skipped a
Yeah.
beat. Not skipped a beat. That's great.
Well,
that-
Zach does have very long hair.
And what, does he have a high pitched voice?
So a little. Yeah,
There you go. That's the same.
fills right in. Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
To me, that's a huge swing that it might things go south, but that's awesome. You guys have maintained listenership during this transition.
Yeah, no, it's been fun, and yeah, this it was Amanda's whole idea to like start doing these like trivia nights and movie nights and stuff like that, and we're still doing them, but it's really fun. Like the patrons like jump in and
yeah, you're involving patrons where they can
Yeah.
interact with you directly.
yeah, we do like just a live like meet and greet thing, and we did a movie night the other night. It was kind of fun.
We never really did that, did we, Blake?
Well, because nobody listens to it.
That's right.
Your listeners can do it live and in person.
That's right.
Meet and greet.
Well, that's cool. The times I've been lucky enough to be on your program, it's always fun, and you guys got a really cool thing going, and really devoted listeners. So, congratulations. That's a really cool thing that you're up to.
Thank you. It's fun.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, you mean to start the show?
Ladies and gentlemen, the captains have turned
You don't
on
seem
the
crazy at all,
seatbelt
Tim.
sign.
To me, you don't seem crazy at all.
Because I went to therapy.
I know.
It's pretty sane to me. Hey, that was Phantom Part 2 by Justice. That's the song we entered the program with. They're just called Phantom Part 2.
Where's part 1?
It's impossible to say. Have you heard of Justice before?
No.
They're a French electronic duo from France. French. Not unlike Daft Punk. You ever heard of fucking Daft Punk?
The motorcycle guys.
Are they motorcycle
I don't
guys?
think we're motorcycle helmets, don't they?
Oh, yeah, they were. Okay, yeah, the helmets. Very Tron-esque. Motorcycles in Tron.
The other famous DJ is like Dead Mouse or something like that. What's
Yeah. My daughter used to see him when she was younger. She called him Dead Mickey because she thought he looked like Mickey Mouse.
What about DJ Tanner?
Yeah. It's a real DJ. Yeah. Oh, are you familiar with the real DJ Tanner's music?
No. Oh, is he actually a real DJ?
Yeah, it really.
Oh, I thought you meant real, just like that's his name.
Someone took that moniker from Full House and said, "I will actually be DJ Tanner," which is fantastic. I feel like you're going to say something, Blake. No? Yeah.
Nope.
Today we discuss the pilot episode of The Phantom from the year of our Lord, 1961. Hey, great year.
Dude, geez, 1961. I was negative 14?
Negative 20.
Wow.
Negative 60.
This is one of the earlier pilots that we've done.
Yeah.
We've done stuff in the late 50s, but 1961, America's Greatest Generation. Am I right, guys?
Yeah, even the baseball players went to war.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Nobody was lazy. The guys all went to war. The wife said, I'm usually just serving my husband dinner. He's gone.
League of their own.
We're going to start a baseball team so there's no sports. I'm going to go build F1 bombers and show my biceps. And basically, I think in the early, late 50s, early 60s is when lesbianism really took off. All those husbands were
Thank God
overseas.
for those 50s and 60s.
God,
Yeah.
thank God. Ugh.
I remember being in high school, and the off chance you get your hands on porno, I remember people, if ever come be like, lesbian porno's fucking hot, right? And I was always like, no, I mean, I want to see a big fucking cock in there somewhere.
Yeah,
I want to see a girl get fucked. I'm not interested in lesbians, but people are really into, and God bless you if you are.
No, I think lesbian porn is cool for like 4 or 5 minutes, and then you're just like, okay, you guys are just fucking scraping your tongue against, there's nothing else going on.
Tim, you seem to be all about it though.
I do like lesbian porn, and maybe the phase stuck around longer for me. I think it was maybe once I started having sex, I liked the dude stuff.
Yeah.
Until then.
I like that dude stuff.
Well, really, when I was like 13, 14, it's like, more women, less dicks. That's what I'm into.
Because you were worried about being a homosexual.
I was worried about being a homosexual. Yes,
You learned that in therapy, actually.
Well, I couldn't relate to it. Now I can watch it and pretend that that's
Those
my
big,
dick.
huge dicks.
Yeah,
flashing
that's
through. You're
exactly what
I
it
had no
is.
context of what that felt
That's
like.
true.
I didn't want to see a dick. I wanted to see extra boobs.
Yep.
Extra boobs.
I've got more refined taste now. I
that's
like a big
interesting.
cock in my porno now.
That's interesting. You feel like you turned the corner on lesbian
really refined
porn when you had sex yourself.
I really think so. I could visualize that penis as my own.
Interesting. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Hey, here's some things that happened back in 1961, so we can be in the proper mind frame of when this pilot was made, because to do it any other way would be uncivilized. And we shall go back there. Tim, before you go, in our minds. Thank you, Tim. First thing is January 20th, John F. Kennedy is sworn in as the 35th president of these United States, the country's great hope and a grade A scumbag too. I think probably. So.
That's unfortunately, yeah. The older I've gotten, the more I've learned. I'm like, yeah, he was like, as a kid, you're like in school, you're like, oh, JFK was like amazing, and then you become an adult and you're like, yeah, no, not so much.
You die a hero or live long enough to become a villain, right?
Yep.
And thankfully, he did die when he was young. Well, that's good or bad. But he is. I can't imagine having that much power and that much youth and not being like, what if I fucked everything that walked in front of me? You know,
Well, it wasn't just that though. I mean, he was shady as a politician.
Oh,
too.
what besides the sex do you think?
Well, I'm just saying, like, well, he was a drug addict for one.
Oh, was he? What kind of drugs?
Well, he was getting shots in his he had back problems. He was getting shots, and they were not by a physician. A lot of famous people at the time were getting shots from this guy.
So you're saying he was getting shots for pain and became addicted to the fact
Sure,
that he was
yeah.
in pain and needed
right,
help there.
and he was fucking bitches, and that's great. Whatever, everybody does it. But I think politically, to get to that echelon at a young age, you have done some shady shit politically, and that's the other part of it too. I mean, you sign a deal with the devil for, you know what I mean?
I think Obama became president in his late 40s, if I remember correctly. And the thing about that is Obama did not have like a huge history in politics,
Right,
where someone
right.
could go back and scrutinize it and say you did this horrible thing and this horrible thing. He found the sweet spot of being like a rock star politician and having that youth without that record,
Right.
versus being an agent. But it takes all kinds too.
Right, well-
Who's our fucking president now? He's guy's like 77, right?
Right.
So it takes all kinds.
Right, and with JFK, I mean, you look at his family history of, they're all politicians, and how many of them have kind of end up being shitty people?
Chapelwhittick, right?
Quite a few.
It's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see. January 28th, Supercar, the first family sci-fi TV series filmed in Super Marionation, debuts on ATV in the UK. Super Marionation is a portmanteau, of course, of the words super, marionette, and animation. It's a style of television and film produced in its puppet TV series and feature films of the 1960s. These productions were created by Gary and Sylvia Anderson. Gary Anderson was previously discussed on our episode in 2019 when we watched Space Police, and we were briefly discussed on the Gary Anderson podcast. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you really remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Space Police was an interesting podcast, interesting pilot that we discussed. But there was that whole other podcast out there called the Jerry Anderson Podcast, and they called us out for kind of shitting on Space Police, I think.
Yeah.
I watched another marionette
What's
pilot
that?
with you guys.
Oh,
I
which
watched-
one?
I don't remember. I don't know.
Actually, I just
Remember the bird? There was like a bird dropped eggs or some shit.
Yes. It was like a mechanical bird, though, right?
Yeah.
It was
Like a robot bird. Yeah.
Yes, I do remember.
Speaking of
what was
marionette,
that?
there was just a conversation the other day about Team America.
Oh, yeah.
I was sitting next to a guy who's 23, and I was like, "America, fuck yeah!" And he was like, "What's that from?" And I was like, "What?" And yeah, so it showed how old I was.
I saw that twice in the theater.
I saw it numerous times at the theater because I was working the booth. Like I worked at the movie theater at the time, and so we knew like what time like the sex scene came, on and everything. But yeah, I watched a lot of that.
I didn't know you worked in the movie theater.
Yeah, with the Pekin, I was a manager.
I used to work at Landmark.
Really?
Yeah. My
Remember
first job.
The old days of slicing film together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's like those little, just like a little machine.
Yep, and
then
you tape
taped
it,
just
yep.
with like little, like
you
Scotch
had, you had
tape.
to add the ads to it, and
When did you do that? What year?
96, 95 to 97 or something like that.
I think I asked you about that before because I used to go like in the early aughts when they would have those rerun film festivals
yeah.
at midnight, and I was like, what if I had met Tim by some happenstance in his fucking long hippie hair back then? But it was too early.
I was at Kinko's by then.
Yeah, Kinko's.
By the aughts.
And I would rarely go see films at Kinko's. Let's see. January 31st, Ham, a 37-pound male chimpanzee, is rocketed into space aboard Mercury Redstone 2 in a test of the Project Mercury spacecraft designed to carry United States astronauts into space. Ham survived the flight and spent the next 20 years until his death in Washington, D.C. and North Carolina zoos. I know you're a
Wow.
big, you're a
From
big champion
outer
of
space
primates.
to a zoo.
To be adored by millions.
Yeah.
You know, if you go to the fucking Washington, D.C. zoo, they're going to have a big plaque up and say, this
Right.
motherfucker was in
In
space.
space.
Yeah.
What have you done?
Right,
And
yeah.
and they'd have a mirror that you'd have to look at yourself
he
afterwards.
pisses. He pisses all right in front of you, and he still went to the moon.
You're a big fan of primates, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah, for sure. Silverback gorillas are my spirit animal.
Right.
Yeah.
What a lot of times I see people like in the jungle, they go on safari or whatever, and they see a big ape in front of them, and the ape will charge, but it'll stop right in front of them, like a kind of a threat, but then it'll back off. Do you think what would you do if an ape charged you like that? I would put poop in my pants. I know.
No, I wouldn't. I knew that our spiritual bond would come into play, and we'd be having beers and playing cards.
You would meld with the animal, you think?
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
For sure.
Who's that one scientist woman that did that shit?
Is she
yeah.
with Coco the
Yeah.
what was her
Teaching them all that sign
Dr.
language.
Joyce Brothers, I think is what it
Yeah. That was Dr. Ruth, wasn't
yeah,
it?
Dr. Ruth.
Didn't Sigourney Weaver play in a movie or something like that?
Remember when Dr. Ruth was a sniper? Remember when we talked about her recently on the show?
Oh,
And she fucking like was in World War II and trained to be a sniper. It's the craziest fucking shit. And she's
that
still
true?
alive.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
On the German side?
Yeah. I don't know.
Isn't
Maybe.
she a German lady?
Yeah. Oh, no, Austrian.
Austrian. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't
She-
know.
I think
which,
she-
I don't
I
know
think
which
she
side
was-
of the
I
war
think
they
she was
were
an
on.
ally.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was. I think she was on the good side.
I hope so.
I think she got like part of her foot blown off and then learned how to be a sniper and then told everyone about the G spot in the 80s.
Wouldn't that be fucked up if she was a Nazi sniper and then we just import her in here for sex advice?
She went to Chile for a
fuck
few
is
years.
that?
They were like, "Hey, bring her up here. She's funny looking."
The Nazis have the best sex.
How-
And I'll tell you why. Hitler's mustache. Very, very good French tickler.
No one under 4'8" can be harmful. Bring her up here, tiny lady.
She's barely tall enough to suck my dick.
All right, I am back in 1961.
Oh yeah, for sure. I can hear Creedence Clearwater Revival right now.
Tim, did Tim get all? Did you get them all right last time? About you did, didn't you? About why we watched the pilot.
Always. I always get them right.
Do you want to do it again or not?
Well, is there a fourth?
There's
No,
only
no,
I'm not
those
gonna know.
three.
All right,
Three.
good. Had to be available to watch on the internet for free. That's two of them, right? It's was a pilot that never went to series. Whether it or not is irrelevant.
That's great.
And you know what to do, Tim.
Good job. But can you throw a fastball?
I can throw a fastball really slowly.
You ever heard this song before?
No. Should I know it?
These are all drops from the Guys in a Bowling Alley show.
Oh, is it? Well, then I probably have heard it. Just didn't put it together.
What's it? Is this the match game?
Yeah. Speaking of the match, the other day, I was at the Moose. I had the day off, and I was day drinking, which is my favorite. I will day drink with anybody. I love it. It's wonderful. But we were on the Game Show Network on television, and we were watching Family Feud with Richard Dawson. Now, I know of Richard Dawson. I know that he, was like Kiss the Ladies kind of thing. But I watched a full episode with him from beginning to end. And the way that you could tell that these women did not want to kiss him. And, like, it wasn't just to go... I mean, he would put his hand on the back of their head and bring them to him. It was the creepiest thing I've ever seen. It really was. It was so creepy. I was blown away.
He was also in The Running Man.
And Hogan's Heroes.
Oh, was he? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
He was like the game show announcer, like the main
Yeah.
guy in Running Man. That's
Yeah.
right. All right, that's it. That was the game. Remember that song?
This is the game.
Is this season 38 of Couch Pots?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I don't fucking know.
We're currently on season 38 of the challenge.
Are you really?
Yeah. How
We
about
have a
that for an
line.
overlap?
You know what we should do? We'll do an episode of Challenged, and you three guys do an episode of Couch Plans.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm fine with that.
You lost Amanda, gained Zach, didn't lose any listeners. You do this switch, you'll lose every fucking listener you've ever had.
No, they love you guys.
I think the first time that we had Tim on, he's like, I'll put the Couch Pilots on our feed. That'll be something. And he did it. And for 1 week, I think we had a nice boost. And then everyone heard it and was like, I'm not interested in this fucking shit at all.
These guys are stupid. This stuff happened in 1950. Why the fuck do we care about that?
What's
Fucking
that?
millennials.
What's that guy who's in every TC?
CT.
CT's not in any of these fucking pilots. I don't know anything to do with that.
That was the movie we just watched. CT's in a legit movie now with fucking Judd Nelson and shit in it.
I thought, was he in a movie that you guys did at one of Brian's horror film fests?
Yeah,
or something?
habitual, yeah.
Did he didn't show up for it though, did he?
No, because that was right during the first week
yeah.
of COVID. Everything shut down. I mean,
so-
you guys were there at the first night of
Yeah.
that.
We did go to one.
That's
yeah.
when
he was
Molly
supposed
got Molly got high and she couldn't feel her feet.
Yep, he was supposed to come out the next day, and everything was canceled.
But what was at that point, even up to that point, he was ready to come do it.
Yeah.
But because of COVID, he didn't go.
Yep,
Oh, what a bummer.
yep. Sucks.
But now he's in a real movie. You said with Judd Nelson?
yeah, and there's like Casper Van Diem, and like there's like a
Yeah, he's from what's that? Those
Starship
bug
Troopers.
movies? Yeah.
Yeah.
Starship Troopers. The greatest satire of this or any generation. Who's the director of that? He's a funny guy, right?
Oh, I don't know, of Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
I would know
He's
it if
like
I heard it.
I think he's like a
that.
French or German guy who's like proficient in making weird shit like that. Hey, Blake, I don't know if you heard this before. You can find the entire episode of The Phantom by subscribing to Couch Pilots and SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then simply click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes, or go to YouTube.
Tim.
And you know what to do to him. Just put a period in there.
Whoa.
Flight attendants.
Is our bell broke?
Prepare for takeoff, please.
I think our bell's broke.
Sometimes you press 2 buttons at once by accident. I got a really wide pointer finger. I don't know if you know what I'm saying.
And that's why you can't commit.
I really think it does come back to that. I'm very lonely, guys. What you know, man.
Lonely, oh so lonely.
Somewhere the pilot, the Phantom, along with canine companion Devil, investigate wicked doings at the plantation of Mrs. Harris. Blake?
I guess I'm going to give it a B because it's short and to the point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a B.
Last week you gave it an A+.
Yeah.
Insane.
In the membrane.
Tim, you want to grade that pilot?
Whatever Blake said.
What Blake said,
This is a big old ditto.
Which
on that
nobody has ever said to me out loud. Well, whatever Blake said.
one. Whatever Blake said. Yeah.
So usually, whatever the opposite of whatever he's not drinking. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Interesting Facts. This is the part of the show where Jason has scoured the internet to find facts about this show that you may not know. All we ask is that you enjoy these facts. Do not give your opinion about them or taint someone's experience by giving them what you think of these facts. Just enjoy. Jason's worked hard on these. I do know what hard times are, buddy, so Dusty, just relax.
I think I got a lot of interesting facts here.
Really?
Are you guys ready for this?
No.
I'm surprised.
You're not? What
no,
can I do?
just
What can I
skip
do? Skip it?
Yeah.
You know all that work you put in?
I
Just
just-
fuck it, skip it.
Fuck it.
I did a lot of. I'll skip it if you want.
No.
I'll close interesting facts.
No,
Now we need to
just
know.
Come
Now we need to
on,
know.
come on.
Do it?
Yeah.
Do
Right?
half,
I need
do
to know.
half of them.
You guys think I should do it?
Do half of them.
Huh? Oh, God. Come on.
Do it in a Billy West voice.
Which one?
Well, he's a master of 1,000
Because you
voices.
know he's done over 1,000 voices.
Ren or Stimpy, whichever one he was. Was he both?
He was Stimpy, and then John Kricfaluski, who created Ren and Stimpy, he was Ren at first. And then they fired John because he was an insane guy. And then Billy West had to come in and do Ren and later.
So he did both.
At later
Wow, he just had to come in and save the day, didn't he, Tim?
He knew that, like right off the top of his head. You
Of
see
course
that?
he did.
Super fan over there.
I'm a big bucket of information.
What age was the first time that Billy had sex?
It was 1937. Her name was Elizabeth Henry. He had wooed her for about 14 months. And then
That's a huge word for him. That's great.
Wooed.
Look at me in the eye, you fucking piece of shit.
I always just envision Billy West
if-
just like with his eyes closed.
I am Sven and you are Red.
If someone has a passion for something, Blake likes to make fun of that because he has zero passion in his life, which is fine. Passion isn't for everyone.
It's the Christ.
The Phantom is an American adventure comic strip first published by Lee Falk in February 1936. The main character, the Phantom, is a fictional costume crime fighter who operates from the fictional African country of Bengala.
Whoa. You almost messed that up.
I've been drinking a lot.
I didn't know that.
The character has been adapted for television.
Hey, I knew he was drinking. I didn't know he was in Africa.
He's giving giving opinions.
Who is?
He just gave an opinion.
I don't like that.
You just
I don't
blew
like
him off.
I don't like that. The character.
You haven't been tested in a long time. That's your problem. You haven't been tested.
I'm
in
an
a long
alcohol
time.
I'm gonna have
problem.
opinions about all this shit then.
The character has been
Try to
adapted.
stop me. Was you gonna not invite me back?
Yeah.
What are
Can your
less,
listenership handle that,
are
motherfuckers?
less people not going to hear my voice? The character has been adapted for television, film, and video games. Fact.
Oh, that's interesting.
He's really
Video games?
sure. Well, I think in the '90s there was a Billy Zane, a la the Titanic. It was the Phantom, and if I had to guess, I bet there was a red hot Sega Genesis game called the Phantom. I don't know for sure.
Okay.
I was actually working in the theater when that came out. Bring it back around, and I got a Phantom ring. Whoa. I still have it somewhere. Yeah, used to get some swag back then. Blake, did you get swag working at the theater?
We got posters, got some T-shirts sometimes, but not very many of them. But posters, like the Spider-Man posters, were the big deal. Like to make sure, like we had to lock them in the office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Posters were a big deal. I got dog tags for one of the Raimi movies. Yeah,
Jarhead,
Man on Fire, or
Man
some
on
shit like
Fire,
that.
probably.
Yeah,
Hey, after the success of Mandrake the Magician, we did that on the show.
Yes, we did.
Let's see here. King Feature Syndicate asked Falk, who created the Phantom comic strip, to develop a new feature. His first effort was to write and draw a strip about King Arthur and his knights. When King Features rejected the strip, Falk developed the Phantom, a mysterious costume crime fighter. He planned the first few months of the story and drew the first 2 weeks as sample as well. Fact.
Sega Genesis, Phantom 2040. It was a Sega Genesis game.
It's a pretty good guess, right?
Did you have it? Is that why you knew it?
No, I didn't have it.
Oh, it's right here.
Great, yeah. I believe it.
Just trying to help out.
Unlike many other superheroes, the Phantom has no superpowers. He totally relies on his strength, intelligence, and myth of his immortality to take action against forces of evil. The Phantom is a legacy hero descended from 20 previous generations of crime fighters who all adopt the same persona dating back to the 1500s. He has a trained wolf named Devil and a horse named Hero, and like the 20 previous Phantoms, he lives in the ancient Skull Cave.
Ooh.
Fact.
Scary.
The Phantom, this episode was called No Escape, was a pilot for a proposed TV series based on the Phantom. Although it's believed that the footage was never released by the production company, the pilot has appeared on DVDs and the internet. Fact. Writer John Carr, who was overseen by Lee Falk, originally wrote 4 episodes, but because the pilot was not picked up by a network, the remaining 3 were never filmed. Fact. Just a couple more. Thank you for hanging with me.
Oh, no, sure.
Actress Marilyn Manning Marilyn Manning had originally been cast as Diana Palmer, but never appeared in the pilot. Devil, Hero, and the Jungle Patrol all appear throughout the course of the story. Fact. It's a few more. Just a couple more.
Hurry up, Jason.
A few more and a couple more is a big difference.
There's about 25 more. That's it.
Okay.
Stars Roger Creed as the Phantom / Mr. Walker. He is best known for being Bob Hope's stuntman and his stunt work in RoboCop 3, Batman Forever, and Ghostbusters 2. Fact.
Wow. That's a long career. So he was in this in 61, and then he's still doing stuntman shit 20 years later?
Even
25
30,
years
yeah.
later? 30 years? That is an interesting fact.
That's straight up Billy West right there.
Also stars Lon Chaney Jr. as Jed. Lon is best known as the actor most identified with who? Do you know this? You're a horror guy.
He did a lot of them. I'll say Dracula?
He was
Frankenstein?
neither of those.
Phantom of the Opera?
Casper?
Wolfman.
Wolfman.
Jack.
I think Christopher Lee was most known as Dracula, right?
Oh, probably, yeah.
Was Universal's Wolfman monster beginning in the early 1940s. He was not the first person to portray Wolfman, but the man most identified because he would go on to do most of the Wolfman movies. Fact. Right. And finally, Lee Falk worked on the Phantom comic strip, which he started in the 1930s. He worked on it until his death in 1999.
Shit, 69 years? 6 years?
The publication continues to this day. Interesting facts over.
Good job.
Finally.
Gee, Merry Christmas. What is this? Challenge podcast? That list took forever.
He's also starred in.
He was on the other episode, challenged mentally, and then there was challenged physically.
You okay?
That was bad.
You doing all right?
Nah, I wanted to go somewhere and I couldn't find it.
Well, take his drink here. Twitter responses.
Twitter responses. I wonder if Jason got some Twitter responses. Little Southern Baptist gospel song there.
They're all dead. You can't Twitter response from the grave. Maybe Elon's working on that. I don't know. I would love it if
Get on it, Elon.
Let's break down the pilot now. This is, I think, about a 25-minute, 25 minutes.
Yeah, that's 25 minutes. It's split up onto 2 tracks on
two
YouTube.
different chunks on YouTube. The first thing we should note here is how bad the visuals
Oh
are.
my god, hard to watch.
It's pretty rough. This is a black and white affair, but
it's all white.
It's unimaginably bright.
It's actually just all gray.
I
don't
actually
think there's any black in it.
I actually at one point was like, but if I put some sunglasses on, will this look better?
That's
because
not
I was getting
not
a
a
headache.
terrible idea.
I was getting a headache from it. Yeah, for sure.
Especially at the very beginning. I think it gets better throughout the show,
Yeah.
but towards the beginning, they do not have it figured out. So and we can barely make out what's going on, but we shall try.
Sure.
Towards the end too, it seemed like anything with a shadow, a slight shadow, was just flat gray. You couldn't see
It was
anything.
rough. It was a little rough.
Yeah.
So there seems to be some sort of manhunt taking place. There's a group of men on foot with jaguars on leashes.
Yeah.
Well, you saying this is in Africa sums that up for me because I was like, what is this? The Wild West? Is this taking place in like the fucking 1800s or
If
something?
this came out, if it was like filmed in the late 50s, presented in 1961, I imagine the culture at that time is pretty familiar with the Phantom. You know, entertainment was limited, and especially comic strips. Everyone's got the daily newspaper, right? Everyone knows the Phantom. I don't know the Phantom.
No,
I didn't see the Billy Zane movie.
Yeah, to me, this is a quote unquote superhero that I don't have a lot of familiarity with.
So maybe the people at the time when this was released, they knew
Sure,
the
because
Phantom.
they probably remember the radio show. There's probably a radio show like
Probably.
the Green Lantern and next the Phantom.
Right.
And then after that, they probably also knew that this was based in Africa somewhere. But people here, watching it,
Sure.
60 years later, we didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is weird because one of the first talks is about the plantation and stuff like that. It's like, is this America in the 1800s? Like, what's going on here?
Right.
It took a while to kind of figure
no,
out what's
you
happening.
could tell it wasn't because there was too many white guys working.
That's right.
Well, we got a woman on horseback, and she instructs these men out on this manhunt to unleash one of the jaguars, which it would be the most terrifying thing on the
Yeah,
planet.
the Jaguar has like the worst, like scariest roar, like like wow,
It's still, if I heard that, man, I'd be
I
freaked
fucking,
out.
you know what? I probably poop in my pants.
we get a title screen of a drawn image of the Phantom with some quick credits and like a big sounding intro song, like the Phantom.
Yeah,
It's like a big
kind of into
booming.
that. Kind of into that.
We're in a jungle-like environment. We're getting a lot of like deep growling sounds from the jaguars, who appear to have found one of the men, and who is promptly shot and like left to fall into some water with some
He falls off.
crocodiles.
He falls off a cliff.
Yes.
Into the crocodiles. Then all of a sudden, the Phantom, shows up, like pops up out of the brush, and I know it's black and white and it's really bad, but I'm like, oh yeah, this guy just popped up and he's got like a purple onesie on with like a Long Ranger mask.
Right.
Oh, wait, let's do that. Let's describe how the Phantom looks right now.
He's got he was like that green screen kind of green outfit that people wear. It's like that,
like
but
a skin tight outfit,
but
right?
with the it's put with shorts on and like a black eye mask.
Oh, is he wearing shorts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got like shorts or something on.
But yeah, it's like an all skin tight purple. Then with that black, like almost like a sleep mask or like a 1940s robber kind of mask.
Where's my super suit?
But sometimes Blake says things I don't understand. Just gotta let him lie.
From The Incredibles.
I never saw The Incredibles.
Oh.
Oh, I remember that now.
Yeah, he goes, where's my super suit?
Frozone.
Yeah.
Is that
Frozone.
Samuel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Can you tell that was Blake's black
You
person
couldn't
voice?
tell that.
Yeah. No, I know.
My
I know.
black person.
Believe me,
You
I
know
know.
we need Billy West in here to do that Frozone
Oh, yeah.
voice.
You wouldn't have fucked it up like I did.
Yeah, no, he would have definitely done better than Sam Jackson.
We are on the Harris Plantation, is what it's called.
Yeah, Mrs. Harris.
The Phantom jumps in the water with his dog, Devil, to wrestle the alligator or crocodile. If it's in Africa, I assume it's a crocodile, which I think crocodiles are much bigger than alligators,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
You know so much more about crocodiles and alligators than
That
I
one
could
thing?
ever hope to learn.
I think the crocodiles have a long, wide snout, where the alligators have a long, thin one. They're much smaller than crocodiles are terrifying.
Yeah. I know that alligator rhymes with see you later. and
Crocodile rhymes with,
In a while.
it's been a while.
Yeah, that's right. That's all I know.
All right, so so the Phantom comes to help. Obviously, he chokes out this crocodile and
He
saves.
beats up a crocodile.
Yeah, for sure he does.
To
Then
start off the show.
Yeah,
That's
and-
fucking badass.
so then we get a title screen that says, "Hey, we're now going to headquarters." It was like a paper, it was. Just,
Well, I think it was like a sign almost in
Yeah.
the woods.
Territorial headquarters.
No, it wasn't in the woods. It
that's
was just a
exactly
sign that they put in front of it to say, "Oh, we're moving now."
Right.
And
It's like an office environment. There's two men in there typing up a report. When the Phantom arrives, but he enters like he's a 1980s spy.
Yeah,
he's got like a trench
he looks,
coat.
looks like Dick Tracy, kind of. He has that trench coat,
Like he's
the
an ace reporter or something like that, right?
the fedora, and then
Sunglasses.
Roy Orbison sunglasses.
And the dog is with him.
It took me a second to even realize that was the Phantom because he wasn't wearing the outfit.
I
think he would always wear the outfit.
I didn't know who it was either, but then like the way they were talking to him and the way he was acting, I think this is the guy, which makes me think: do people know who he is, or just people in authority know who he is? Like, is he working hand in hand with like the police and the military or something? You know what I mean? Like, because he's coming in here without his outfit on.
Yeah.
How does
people
that
know
work?
who he is? Stop wearing the fucking thing on your face.
Right.
It just gets in the way.
It always gets in the way. So, there's a guy that, the guy that he saved was a secret agent, and the commissioner gets a call, and he's like, "Hey, we need you to keep in touch and go, help this guy, get him out of here."
The commissioner's name is R.G. Mallory, and oddly enough, he's played by an actor named Reginald Denny. Do you guys remember? Does that name have any reference with you at all?
But it sounds familiar, but I don't.
Do you know the name Reginald Denny?
No.
Reginald Denny was a guy during like the 1992 Los Angeles riots or whatever. Who he was? I think he was like a white guy who was pulled from his vehicle and like savagely beat, and like Jim Carrey would go on to portray him in Living Color. Reginald Denny doesn't ring a bell with you at all?
Not at all.
It's so funny that there's an actor that has that exact name. Anyway.
And so he's like, well, I'm going out in the jungle. And he's like, how are we going to communicate? We're like, we're just going to use your dog to keep in touch with each other. And so, they're like, okay, well, I'm going to go save this guy. The next scene is Mrs. Harris has her goons spraying these guys with quote-unquote leopard bait. And they're basically like slaves on her. They're building a road is what they're doing. They're building a road.
I think later we find out that this is almost like a prison camp work site.
Yeah.
But
right?
but if we're in Africa, there's a lot of white guys on this.
It must have been South Africa. South Africa has a lot of white people.
Really?
But, yeah.
I'll move there.
Johannesburg. There's a guy in an all-white suit who comes in a pickup truck, and he's basically dropping off 4 people.
Yeah.
I think 3 of them are black, but one is a white guy, and that white guy is Mr. Walker, a.k.a. the Phantom.
Yep.
And this is his time to infiltrate this facility.
Yeah, the guy's like, I got one here who's got a knot on his head, but he'll be all right. You can use him.
Mrs. Harris, she keeps a Jaguar with her at all times. This is terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah. Any bitch,
It'd be cool, right?
Any crazy.
It's cool, but I'd be terrified.
Well,
if
it's
I was
what
those
you
workers.
it's kind of girl you want to spend the weekend with, but you don't want to fucking live with her, right?
I'm more interested in the Panther. I would like to have one.
That seems risky.
The foreman explains to these new recruits, again, one of which is Mr. Walker, that Mrs. Harris is in charge. It's her job to make sure that there's a road being built mile by mile through this jungle. And all the men at the work camp, like you said, Blake, are sprayed with a jaguar bait. So if they try to escape, the jaguars can hunt them down easily.
But wouldn't it just make them want to attack them when they're not escaping? Why do they spray all these people?
Maybe they have to hold them on a leash until they can just let. I don't know.
Like,
You're right.
what is leopard bait? Like it's just like a sausage smell or something?
It's probably like lady jaguar vaginal secretions.
Oh man! So the Jaguar's not going to eat these guys. They're going to fuck this
Hell
guy.
yeah, they're gonna.
They're gonna fuck them. That's how you really, you can eat them, and that would teach them a lesson. But you want to really teach them a lesson,
Right.
Let them get fucked by a jaguar,
Right, because then they can come back and keep building the road.
Right.
With
Yeah.
that memory of when
Their
Jaguar
asshole's gonna
fucks
hurt
them.
for a couple weeks.
Right,
Then they won't run so much.
It's not going to get in the way of sledgehammering some rocks and shit.
Swing low, sweet chariot. Leopard gonna come fuck my ass.
They're out there singing slave songs. Pretty fucked up. This whole scene takes place in front of this big guy without a shirt on, and his hand is in the air. It's like it's hanging there, being tied.
Sure,
and we
it's
find
a
out
punishment.
We find out, this is like a punishment they do to some.
I just thought he had a question.
Well, someone please answer this guy's question.
Can I ask you a question?
So the Phantom's going by Mr. Walker, and now he's wearing an eye patch and has a head bandage. And later we see a large man who pays the camp doctor for some medicine and says he has a plan to escape. The doctor then goes to look after a sick worker. We find out his name is Barney, and the guy's not getting any better. And Mr. Walker says, when he's looking over this guy, says, we got to get this guy to a hospital.
Right. And then we find out is this where we meet Big Mike, right?
Well,
Yeah.
that evening, we have the folks who are in charge of the whole camp. They're all eating dinner together or something, and they kind of discuss the day's events. And one guy says, we should keep an eye on Mr. Walker. He's new here, but I can tell he's smart. And because he's a smart guy, that could be a problem. And then they devise a plan after. If someone says, what can we do to get rid of Mr. Walker? And someone says we could frame him for, I think he said rape.
I didn't catch
I think
that.
they said we could frame him for rape like we did the other guy. But someone else says, well, Big Mike could take care of him.
Yeah,
we could have Big Mike take care of Mr. Walker.
Yeah, and we come to find out Big Mike is like 8 foot tall.
Yeah, big dude.
Yeah, he's a big dude on this.
I cannot recall this guy's name, but it should be noted that Big Mike was Jaws in the James Bond's film.
Oh, really?
And I believe he was also like kind of the guy that was rooting for Happy Gilmore. You know, that huge guy?
Yes, that's him?
Yes.
Wow.
So
he
that-
looks much younger and better looking in this one.
It's pretty incredible, though, that this is that same guy.
Yeah, he's got to be 7 feet-ish, you think?
Oh, easily. And
A little
I
more?
cannot imagine that he is still alive. But Mr. Walker then starts talking to Barney's friend about the ongoings at camp. He's trying to pump him for information. And he thinks, the guy says, I think Barney saw something, like where he beat, like the camp, some of the people at the camp beat a guy to death. And so they're letting my friend Barney die because he saw this, and he can't tell anyone. So Mr. Walker then wants to work with him, kind of to bring this whole place down.
Right, ask him to testify, right?
Yeah. We have men on patrol then later that evening with Jaguars, and then Devil. What is Devil? He's a German Shepherd.
German Shepherd.
Like it, yep.
This is like to me. This is like the coolest part of like
It
the whole
is.
thing.
This is very
and to be
cool.
honest with you, like this was like the first thing you could actually like see and make out what was happening. But it was pretty cool for sure.
Tell us what he did. Tell us what the Devil did.
They're laying in. These guys are like chained to the ground and they're sleeping on the ground. That's where you sleep. And he like this German Shepherd digs a hole under this like barbed wire, I guess you'd say. Army crawls past 4 or 5 guys, gets to Mr. Walker, and like is like here's a message, and like spits a note out of his mouth from the commissioner. Is like we're gonna come help you, and then he Army crawls back while in the dirt while all these guys are sleeping, goes underneath the electric fence or whatever, and then just takes off. And I'm like, how fucking cool is that? Like,
it was pretty cool.
He was like, I'm a big dog. I got to be quiet. Why not army crawl in the dirt?
So you're a dog fan, though? You like
Oh,
dogs.
you know me. Apes and dogs.
Dogs are your Billy West, right?
Yeah.
A German Shepherd came from a breed in 1932, and they were used in World War II to send messages to the troops. Blah blah blah.
But isn't it bad for dogs to crawl like that? Isn't it bad for their hips? I've always heard that's bad for dogs.
German Shepherds have bad backs anyway. I mean,
No,
they
so
have
fuck it.
hips. Yeah, so
Yeah,
fuck
just
it.
fuck it. Who cares?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming mine do it all the time.
Yeah.
When they try to scoot along the ground. But yeah, no, I just thought it was super cool. This dog was like, I'm so slick and I'm so cool.
It was a cool scene. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
I like a good trained dog.
Yep. So he hands him the note, and then so the next thing we know, we see Big Mike, I guess, is bitching about the food, and he starts fighting people.
Yes, this was a pretty cool fight scene.
Yeah, and he fights Mr. Walker, and this guy's so much bigger than everybody else.
Yeah.
And it's just classic like 50s like fight scenes. They're real slow, they're very choreographed, but this one wasn't too bad.
Yeah, at least you could sort of make out what was going on the screen anyway,
Sure.
which was nice.
I think the really cool thing about this scene is that we've learned that the guy who played Mr. Walker, the Phantom, was a stuntman. And he was doing real stuntman things here. Like we got to see real action.
Oh, he does. Real stuntman things.
No, but like,
I know what you're saying, but
just
just
it's like it was him actually doing those things. He was a stuntman for Bob Hope for years, and here he is like he really gets his ass kicked for a lot of it. Doesn't
yeah,
he?
for sure. And he gets tied to a tree, right?
Who does?
Does Mr. Walker get tied to it? No, Big Mike gets.
Big Mike, they throw a net on this guy.
Yeah.
I always love it
On
when
this
people
guy.
I love it when people are caught by nets. You don't see that anymore.
I kind of want to be
Shit
caught
in
by
the
a net because
2020s.
Hey.
you want to think how is this really stopping me? I want to experience.
Not to ruin anything, but on Wednesday, the show Wednesday,
Yeah.
somebody gets netted.
I'm not going to watch it.
What show Wednesday? What are you talking
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Oh, the show Wednesday.
Adams.
Okay, all right.
Somebody, I don't want to ruin anything for you, but
Well, you just did though. You just spoiled.
I didn't give you any details besides somebody gets netted.
I think that's kind of
So you're only at the
spoiler.
part of the pilot where he's netted. Is that right on the show?
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like I could
I feel like
overcome a
we're
net.
further along, but
If I'm Big Mike, that net's not slowing me down.
oh god, no.
I'll fight through that net. That's no big deal.
It takes that net and like a half dozen guys to bring him down. But he's not an enforcer or a foreman, anything. Big Mike is like just a worker. And then after he's like reprimanded for beating up these guys during chow time or whatever, Mrs. Harris approaches him and says, "Hey, I want you to kill Walker, and I'll be sure to clear your name if you do so." And Mike agrees to it.
Oh yeah, he's like,
This is where he's got his hand tied up again,
Oh,
right? This
yeah,
is the
absolutely.
punishment. Tying your hand up.
So Walker then tries to get Barney's friend to testify, and the guy's still not sure. And then Mrs. Harris arrives with Mike, and she delivers him to the current work site to take care of Walker. And some of the other guys kind of know what's up. 'Cause they're
Right.
like, this guy fucking
guy's-
killed someone
yeah.
before, and this bitch is hand delivering him here. Something's weird. So everyone's kind of giving Mike like a wide berth, and he instantly approaches Mr. Walker and that dude, and he
Barney.
starts a fight with him.
Yeah,
Well, I
for
think
sure.
it's Barney. It's Barney's friend,
oh
right?
yeah. Instantly starts to fight, and this there's a montage. It's like a very slow fight scene.
This is
But
the
there's
fight.
like an
This is the
axe.
fight scene I meant because
There's an axe.
There's oh yes, he like tries to push an accident, but
Yeah.
but Mr. Walker, I can't remember Roger Creed, I think who played the Phantom. He was a real stuntman
Yeah.
though. This is why I think it's a pretty cool scene.
There's some slaps, and then finally, Big Mike goes down, and the lady pulls a gun.
Well, hang on. We can't skip over the part where Big Mike throws him over horses, and then he jumps right back over the horses.
He does like
again?
a Superman punch over the fucking
Over
horse.
the fucking. Wasn't there two horses?
It's pretty rad.
And to be honest with
Yeah.
you, one of those horses was probably his horse Hero.
You might be right.
I may be wrong.
When he does that, it catches Mike off guard.
Well, why wouldn't it?
And, well, you said,
That catch me the fuck off
You
guard.
just jumped over a fucking horse.
but you said
I thought you
slap.
were gonna have a net.
We should say that the Phantom really does slap the
No.
fucking shit out of Big Mike.
For sure.
Really slaps his ass up.
Yeah.
And it slaps him to the point where he knocks him out.
That's some good slaps. Mrs. Harris pulls out a gun and shoots it, right?
Yeah.
And she misses?
She misses a couple shots. The Phantom Walker says to the other guys, "You got to get out of here. Take off your shirt and get out of here."
Yeah.
What did the taking off of the shirt have to do with anything?
You
It was
have been
super weird.
Well, I think
Because of the spray, the leopard beat.
yeah, that's exactly right.
And so then
That would just make it easier to be raped if he's already half naked, though.
You would rape his
Hey.
back.
it's not rape if he's willing to do it.
The devil, the dog, chomps that lady's hand while she's trying to fire.
Yep.
Or she's firing the gun at him. So that's
Yep.
pretty
And
cool.
then he blows a whistle. And now there's a manhunt for Walker and for this other guy.
Walker takes his shirt off and he gives it to the dog. And he says, hey, "Take it over to the track."
Right.
There's a lot of talking to this dog, like the dog knows exactly what a fucking
The
guy
dog
is saying.
delivered a note. The dog delivered a note in the jungles of Africa. Fuck yeah, this dog knows exactly what's going on.
Could your dogs do that, Blake?
No, mine are idiots.
They eat each other's shit, probably.
No, they don't. That's disgusting.
They eat their own shit.
So
Jason.
all of a sudden, the Phantom shows up. So now he's in costume.
Yeah.
Right? And he starts kicking everybody's ass one by one. And
This is the real montage of the show. Him
Yeah.
like sneaking behind people, choking
just
them out.
get him on one at a time.
Judo
And-
chops.
And if he can't get it, his dog Devil
Yeah.
gets him. And then all of a sudden, he beats all these people up. And then the next scene is all the bad people are getting arrested. Mrs. Harris.
Well, hold on this. He says, "Devil dog, take my shirt away." It's got the jaguar bait on it. The dog does to do so. The main foreman comes across the shirt. He's holding it, and a jaguar attacks him. Right, that guy gets fucking mauled worse than anyone.
Never pick up a leopard baited shirt.
But you're right. At the end scene, we see Mrs. Harris being put in a vehicle and taken away. And it wasn't clear to me until this very point, though, that I think this was a prison camp. I didn't know what it was, really.
Well, they were making a highway. They mentioned it somewhere. In
I didn't know if it was just like workers getting paid a low wage. I didn't know if they're. I didn't know.
I'm gonna take me to the home.
All right.
That's my Billy West imitation of him doing Cartman.
I didn't know if
You
people
remember
were-
that one time the guys that created South Park they were sick, and so Billy West had to do all the characters of South Park. You remember that, right?
I
It was
do,
season
thank you.
32, episode 18.
No, I know the exact one. You don't have to tell me. Thank you. Got to make him happy. Anyway, so this is a prison work camp we've decided. And then Barney, the guy who's been sick, he says he's going to get the help he needs, and we're going to get some time off of your sentence for this, whatever that means.
Yeah, for helping out.
We then see a shot of Phantom and Devil kind of doing their hero pose on this big rock with their hands on their hips. And then he runs down a hill, he jumps on a horse, and takes off. And my God, that's the end, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the lady plays the drums.
Again, yeah, the African lady or guy.
Yeah, it's just playing drums.
Yeah. And that obviously that horse was Hero. So
Please remain seated
guys
as we are
did
now
good.
crossing a zone of turbulence.
that was fun.
I think
That was funner than watching this.
I didn't want to correct you during it, but I think his name was Hardy.
I think you're right. Well,
I wanted you to keep fucking it up the whole episode.
No, there was a guy named Barney. I think that was the sick guy.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
think Hardy was his friend.
Yeah, Hardy's the one that took his shirt off.
Yes,
for a second.
yeah.
Okay,
So
so
we're-
Barney and Hardy were different people?
Yeah, Barney was
I
the guy
didn't-
in the ground, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, well, now I seem like an idiot. I didn't know there was a Barney.
We didn't say Hardy
Tim,
throughout it.
I was
You're
trying
not
to,
an
I was
idiot.
trying to make him feel stupid, and now I feel stupid.
No.
I never
Don't
not
let him- he
feel
always
stupid.
he
Learn
turns
my
that,
lesson.
He turns that shit around on me all the time too.
Oh, I know. I listen to the show. He's really rude to you, Blake.
He is fucking.
I'm
really
not very
disrespectful.
good.
I'm just a piece of meat. I'm just a piece of meat to him.
Quiet.
Yes, sir. But I'm sorry.
I just know that 4 years ago, Blake checked out. And if there's
I thought I've been doing good tonight. I've only yawned like 7 times. I'm exhausted.
You've been doing very good tonight. I'm very impressed. But I know to keep him engaged, I need to poke and jab at him.
Right.
In the I am a villain now. I understand that. In the future, I will be regarded as the greatest American hero.
I'll
of
start
this
calling you Mrs. Harris. And you can start calling me the Phantom.
This is the part of the show we call it turbulence. You ever hear that?
Yeah, turbulence is when on a plane it gets shaky. Could be because of barometric pressure, or this southern winds, or
The nor'easter, probably could be the nor'easter.
northern star.
Thank you. Why didn't the
typhoon.
show work? That's what we like to say.
Well,
what was wrong with
first of all, it looked like shit, but I'm sure it didn't look this bad before. I think this is a very violent show for the 50 or early 60s.
that first guy who got shot by the I think his name was Vince, but he got shot, and you hear screams almost like he may have been mauled by the jaguar.
You
He
hear
falls
a
down
lot-
this hill. Jaguar shot down a hill
off
into
a
an
coast-
alligator.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's the first 5 minutes of the show.
And also like whoever was the Foley guy on this thing.
Yeah.
He had like all these like recordings of jaguars and leopards and like
Yeah.
lions, and he's just pushing the shit out of that button the whole time. He's just like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, he's doing this the whole time. There's jaguars screaming for no reason in this.
Can't do it.
I don't know. Maybe it was hard to get people into the Phantom. Obviously, it's been known how Phantom has been popular for 30 years, but like transitioning, we're still transitioning from radio to television here, and so maybe the Phantom wasn't as popular to visually see as just the comic.
Yeah, we've talked about. I think we did the Adventures of Super Pup, right? And I think we maybe did like an Adventures of Super Boy. We've done a couple of superhero ones that were from around this time period. One thing I always think about, like I remember when X-Men came out in 2000, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, how are these going to look on screen? I think it's going to be ridiculous. I know the comic books a little bit. I used to watch the cartoon on Fox. They're all wearing these spandex bright color. They're going to look ridiculous up there. Turns out they're all wearing like black leather outfits, which makes more sense.
Yeah. I
I don't know that costumed hero costumes look like that makes its way to the screen and looks. But I mean, at the same time, they had the George Reeves Superman, and he was wearing the classic outfit. So
looked like shit with him too, though.
it did kind of look like shit. And then it wasn't until. Was it 66 or 69 with the Adam West Batman?
Nice.
Right? Was that the right?
I don't know. I don't know what year it was.
Anyway.
But that looked like shit too. I mean, I feel like the superhero costumes started looking good in like the early 2000s.
What,
right?
what
They looked
about
shitty until then.
well, the only one I can really think of, we have obviously George Reeves was Superman in the 60s, but Christopher Reeves in the late 70s to mid 80s.
Right. That kind of looks shitty too. Really?
What about Michael Keaton, late 80s?
Okay, that looked good. Yeah.
That didn't look bad.
That was good.
You have to kind of really pick and choose. How fantastical does your outfit look, and will that make sense on a screen?
Yeah.
I think most of the time the answer is no, it does not.
Yeah, this outfit looked terrible, and I do kind of wonder if we're overestimating how many people knew what Phantom was, understood sort of the premise, because like we talked about, it took us a while to figure out where are they. Talking about plantations and this weird road, and I don't know, there was just some premise they didn't really set up in this show.
They didn't set it up. I would argue with limited entertainment at that time, I bet people did kind of know what the Phantom was.
Yeah.
I bet people knew where he was out of. You and I do not.
Right.
And as far as the costume goes, I bet that's pretty synonymous with that character, and I bet people would recognize it. I'm not that familiar with it.
Yeah, I'm not at all.
If this had survived, how much can really be done in the jungles of Africa?
Yeah, I would think that just the live animals alone was very expensive and very
It looked cool, though,
and
right?
very dangerous though.
But it did look cool.
Yeah, cool.
You're
yeah,
right.
The
But
jaguar stuff,
expensive-
the alligator stuff, it looked
yeah,
cool.
Expensive and dangerous though.
But if it had survived, we gotta get the Phantom in the city, right?
Gotta get some bitches. He's gonna be start slinging some bitches, right? Phantom got to get fucked, right?
Yeah. But I think you're right. I mean, superheroes are almost always in cities because it's like, you're out in like fucking rural Africa. What the fuck is there to do out there?
How many people are gonna get?
How many
problems with-
disgruntled landowners can you really disrupt? I mean, like, come on.
Well, look at the whole southern states during the Civil War.
Blake is going to sleep very soundly knowing that he belted that information out today.
That was good. Can't lie.
Thank you for not lying.
I never lie on my jokes. I don't rely on them either.
IMDb, it's Internet Movie Database, I believe. I'm not sure if that's right.
Never heard of it.
It has a score, a rating. People have seen this, not just us. People have rated it and reviewed it. People from around the world on IMDb, 1 out of 10, decimal points in play. Did you cheat on this one, Blake?
No, I didn't have time today.
Would you like to fancy a guess on what people around the world rated The Phantom?
3.2.
Oh.
Tim?
I'm going to double it. 6.4.
That's 8.6.
What, are you
Ooh,
fucking
shit.
kidding me?
Fuck.
That's from 90 ratings.
Wow.
Which is like more than 10 times more of last
It's
week's.
every one of those fucking guys that worked on the plantation on this show. They all did their fucking reviews. Of it.
Yeah, so we're
Bunch
gonna
of Billy West fans too. Probably.
we're gonna live to a time where the internet is created, and we shall rate this.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Viewer reviews, overly critical, just 10 months ago says, does anyone know where the color version of this could be found? I remember it being on YouTube many years ago, but haven't been able to find it. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
I'd rather see a color one. Yeah,
I would too. I'd be surprised if that actually exists though.
An abomination.
Was there any colored TV back in the?
In the early 60s?
Early
I don't think so.
60s?
No, there wasn't very many black people in this episode.
Not colored.
Oh, he did say color.
I did say colored.
But yes, then that's exactly what
And
he
when
did.
I hear color, that's the only thing I think about.
Billy Price just 1 year ago says, hey, too bad the film quality ain't the best, but wow, cool show. And this is from the Phantom himself just 1 year ago. It says, the footage is a little overexposed. Good otherwise. Too bad this show didn't go anywhere. We got a few more real quick here. Unsold Pilot, 3 out of 10 stars. This is from IMDb from Kevin O. Olzak. This is from my birthday, October 27th.
Nice.
Back on October of 2014. It says, no escape wound up going unsold, but not surprising given such dismal results. I don't know if I agree with that. 7 out of 10 scars. This is from Red Ryan 64. He says, the cast did go beyond the standard character and B types that usually populated such and included former Hollywood luminaries Reginald Denny and Lon Chaney Jr., but also included the former Mrs. Charlie Chaplin and then current Mrs. Burgess Meredith. And we all know Burgess Meredith, right?
Sure.
Paulette Goddard was her name. It was a most unusual appearance, but she also did one of those Sherlock Holmes episodes with Ron Howard in the late 50s, so who knows what's up. Overall verdict would have been okay as a kiddie adventure show, probably best done in syndication. And finally,
adventure.
That's right. Finally, 7 out of 10 scars, the Phantom versus Jaws and the Wolfman. This is from Mick Frog in May of 2017. He says, this unaired pilot episode of The Phantom isn't too bad. It doesn't come close to the old Serial or the Billy Zane movie, but there's never a boring moment in this episode. It's too bad there's only one episode of this. Maybe a show like this could have been made The Phantom more popular and more well-known, like the Adam West Batman show did for Batman 5 years later. The episode is available in color on the Lost TV Classics DVDs from Alpha Video. The picture quality isn't perfect, but I believe this is the best version we'll ever get.
Mm-hmm. So there is a color version.
Yeah.
A little bit of more information there. It's
Colors. Remember that show with, it was a movie with Sean Penn and,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to STS.
It's about police and gangs on the
Yeah,
street.
yeah.
And the temperature is
Harvey Milk.
Charlie Sheen's dad?
Martin?
I think it was Martin Sheen.
It was it.
Colors.
There's some NWA like hip hop soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Landing. This is the part of the show where we grade the pilot.
Landing.
Well, you got to announce it, right?
Sure.
We
Because she just said it, but
This is a part where we say we've given you all the information about the Phantom, but now it's time for us to regurgitate some sort of rating. We do so by looking at the classic program from the 1990s, affectionately and accurately known as Wings. We look at all the characters from that sitcom, and we assign them a number. 1, that's Roy Biggins. It's the worst score you can get. And number 7, that's Brian Hackett, and that's the best score you're going to get. Tim, we turn to you as our returning one of our favorite guests.
returning champion. We'll call you a champion.
You are.
Yeah, I'll take it.
You are a champion.
Thanks, buddies.
How do you rate the
Buddies.
Phantom?
I'll give it another 5. 2 5s in a row.
Okay.
I liked it. I like action stuff. That was fun. Like some good action sequences and superhero shit. Yeah, why not?
Superhero shit.
Hard to watch. I mean, but that was just video quality.
Yeah.
And nothing to do with the story or anything. So I liked it.
Yeah. Okay, a 5. Captain Philip, rest assured, we turn to you. How do you rate the Phantom?
I'll tell you what. I was going to give it a lot lower score until we talked about it.
Really? Yeah. I know sometimes that does kind of make it or break it for you. What changed about this time listening to it?
I think I was focusing too much on the fact that it was very difficult to see. But when we broke it down and, I'm giving it a dog bump. I'm giving it a devil bump. I'm going to give it a 5 as well. Devil bump.
Blake, I got to ask you. Devil, I'm sure he's still alive. If he were here with us today, would you let him sleep in your bed with you?
Yeah, for sure. I'm sleeping.
What about on your recliner?
I'm on that recliner, baby.
You'd let him cuddle up on that recliner with you?
Yeah, for sure. What's my comfort? These dogs are only around for like 6-7 years of their lives, right? They're only alive for like 6-7 years.
But
let him. I'm going to be here.
You have to live your life, and don't act like you're going to be here much longer than that. All right, you have to live your life too.
Yeah.
You put a nice pillow on the floor. The dog's going to love that. Yeah, they will. Hey, listen to me.
It's a
Jason.
dog. It's a fucking
Jason.
dog.
Tim and me both gave it a 5.
Yeah.
What do you rate the Phantom?
Sometimes I put out one of my hands, and then I put
Rarely.
another one of my hands out, and I want to grab both of your hands because we're in the hand holding club. I'm going to give this a 5 as well.
Wow.
This was fun. This is a good one. Sometimes you get old stuff. It's really slow, or it's just not, the humor doesn't translate. It's not funny. This is kind of action packed. I tell you what I would have liked, maybe a little bit more of the Phantom's backstory.
Sure.
If this is the first episode in a serial, we're just kind of getting right into it, and we just kind of have to accept what we're given.
Why does he wear those tights?
And that's fine, if we're just thrown into it. But maybe as time would go on, they'd jump into his backstory or give us some flashbacks. But as we talk about a lot, Blake, this is early television, and they are just seeing what sticks on the fucking wall here.
For sure.
But they did a lot. The stuntman work, the horses, the alligator, the jaguar. There's some cool kind of stuff.
Flying over the back of those horses?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool
Into
for
that.
a fucking 25-minute pilot like that. I like that this is just a dude, kind of like Batman,
Sure.
He's just a
yeah.
guy.
He doesn't have a Krypton or from a different planet or he's just a guy trying to make a better world.
He's not doing any fancy voice work, like Billy West.
Now you're bringing it up. Now it's not.
Oh,
me
did I
now.
bring it up? I'm sorry.
I've never heard of him.
Never heard of him. I'll send you guys a link. Anyway, with all of our scores as a 5, we shall close the book on the Phantom, and we'll never speak of that show again.
Ever.
But join us next time, won't you please, when we watch the pilot episode of the Orson Welles show. Here's a little something to wet your whistle. The Orson Welles Show was an unsold television talk show pilot created by Orson Welles. Blake, have we ever done a talk show pilot? I don't know that we have.
I don't know that we have, and I would think that Orson Welles would be like an amazing first deep dive into one.
I've been aware
Orson
of
Welles. For me, when somebody says Orson Welles, big fat guy, balding on top, has long white gray hair, a beard and a mustache, and he kind of looks like Marlon Brando when he's sitting out in his garden, just you know what I mean?
Didn't he voice a Transformer? Bring it back to the Transformers.
Oh, you're
Orson
right.
Welles?
He might have.
Orson Welles did?
Yeah, I think so. In the movie, I think he did Graviton or one of the big.
Yeah, he was like
big
the planet or something,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Wow, good pull.
Man,
How about that?
way to pull it, Tim.
Thanks.
That's one hot pull, Tim.
I'm good at pulling.
Hey, you can find the entire episode of the Orson Welles Show
You can find me on OnlyFans.
by subscribing
I'm still thinking about that.
to Couch Pilots on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then simply click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes, or go to archive.org and revel in the free public access of the American Digital Library.
Fuck.
That doesn't rhyme at all.
Whoops. It's rare that I get a chance to work outside. I recently watched through the entire 9-season run of the Drew Carey Show. You ever watch that fucking shit?
Yeah, for sure.
I like that show. It's not really shown much anywhere because it's kind of past its prime, and then also they used a lot of music, and they said for music there's a lot of licensing.
Sure.
But places like archive.org will have all this shit license-free, including the Orson Welles Show. I think this will be a really interesting pilot to watch.
Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to it.
Last week we gave Tim the option to promote stuff, and he said no one will hear it. They'd be like screaming into a void, and I cannot disagree with him.
I forgot though. My OnlyFans.
Okay.
Check me out on OnlyFans.
What are you doing on
What's your
OnlyFans?
screen name?
It's mostly just toenails.
Toenails?
Yeah. Some people do feet. I went super specific.
Super niche.
Toenails. Yeah.
What's your screen name?
Toe guy.
Toe guy.
Toe guy.
Toe
That's
guy.
right.
So do you just grow them out, or do you clip them, or what's the deal? Do you paint them?
I have ingrown toenails, which I think is a high commodity item.
yeah.
I haven't cashed in yet, but I feel like once people
It's
start
coming.
seeing the seeping pus and the painful red area, I feel like people will really
As soon as the infection
get
hits
into it.
As soon as the infection hits, I'm in the money,
Yeah,
right?
I really think
I
that's-
got you.
Seeping
yeah.
Pus was my hardcore band name in high school. Not successful.
You should get with Eli because he has a real bad toe and toenail, and it gets infected quite a bit.
Oh, could we hold hands but toes intertwining?
Yeah.
All right.
I give consent.
I mean, he's underage, but
I'm giving consent.
Okay.
Eli does have his own OnlyFans, so maybe you guys could do a crossover thing between the two of
We'd
your
have
accounts.
to. Yeah, we'd have to share some income somehow. Yeah.
Get tips.
Tips.
What's that thing? You ever look at one of those sites where ladies are naked in real time with you?
Oh, like a cam girl?
Yes, thank you, cam girls, and they have.
No, never heard of it. What?
What?
I couldn't think of the name, but they
My
have
therapist told me what site to go to.
they've all got that same thing stuffed up their cunt, right? It's that hot pink silicone thing that's somehow Bluetooth connected to what they're doing, and if you tip them, it vibrates inside them.
Sure.
Have we all seen that thing? Right?
I've never. Oh, yes.
You seriously don't know what I'm talking about?
No, I've never paid for a camera. This year,
I've never paid for a camera. You can watch it free.
It just
You
jumps.
can watch it. You just they don't interact with you.
Oh,
unless
you
you're
don't
paying.
get to chat with them and shit.
But a girl will just
I see.
have this little it looks like a big thick tampon string hanging out, but it's this silicone thing that's basically like an antenna to receive the Bluetooth connection to vibrate in them if you tip them. What a fucking insane time it is to live. Isn't that's fucking crazy?
It's fucking crazy.
It's
for
a little
sure.
weird. It's a little. Yeah, it feels like invasive.
Woo.
Is that cheating?
No.
If you would Molly have a problem with you if you paid for a cam girl?
It depends how much money I paid.
$20.
No, I don't.
That'd be
think so.
cool.
I think it's one thing to be to see a cam girl and tip her X amount of money. To me, it's not even like a stripper is she's her fucking cunt's rubbing on your cock,
Right.
You know? But when you're doing it online, when you're tipping someone, I don't think it's as personal
No.
as seeing a stripper in
You
person.
can't smell the cotton candy
Cotton
anything.
candy cooch.
Yeah.
I would think I would argue that it could be more intimate.
I was just going to
To
say
do the cam girl thing.
with some of these cam girls, you can have like a one-on-one experience, or like if you get into that upper echelon of tiers, they're like texting you. Of course, for her, it's completely transactional,
Right.
but it's kind of intimate too.
Yeah.
The OnlyFans is the same thing. The more you pay, the more you get. Yeah.
It's a similar
Yeah.
situation. Yeah.
I think on one of the other podcasts I do, we were talking about what if we did an OnlyFans, but it wouldn't have to be sexual. What?
No, and not all OnlyFans are sexual. There's a lot of them like, oh, I do karate. I'm one of the top karate people in the world. Join my OnlyFans, and I'll teach you better techniques for karate.
It could be anything. Blake,
Sure.
what would you do if you had your own OnlyFans?
Now, when you say that, my first instinct is money. What's going to make the most money? I jerk off for guys. I fucking would.
That is the most honest thing anyone has ever said. On this
I
show.
would.
So defeated.
Think
He's
of it.
like, yeah,
No, I'm not. I'm not
guys.
defeated. I'm just like I'm honest as I'm like I would. That's how I would make money. No girl's gonna pay money to watch me jerk off. I'll just
Guys will watch it.
Yeah.
Jerk and give you money. Okay,
Sure.
that's a super honest answer, and honestly, it may be the way you make the most money.
Yeah, for sure.
Tim,
So to me, it's got to be something I enjoy doing that I feel like I'm really good at. So like just like laying in bed and
Like watching TV.
watching Netflix and smoking weed is sort of like that's my happy point. Like I'm into that. Can be receptive to any feedback while I'm stoned in bed.
Blake, this may be the only aspect in life that we are more successful than Tim. I don't know. How much that-
What would you do, Jason? I care. Blake wouldn't ever ask you that, but I'll ask you.
Sometimes I'll go on Reddit. A lot of people go on, TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
Reddit is my social media app
Yeah,
that I
ditto,
use.
ditto.
I
Can I get a
scro-
high five?
High five it. I scroll through it, and a couple of them I'm like on garage sales or like thrift stores or whatever, thrifting, and I see some of the weird shit people find. I think that would be me. If you go to OnlyFans for Jason, what you're going to see are maybe that week's haul of anything odd or peculiar.
Try again.
Well,
Just leave
hold
it,
on.
just
Let me
leave
take
it.
another drink here. Let me take another drink real quick.
I'm already confused. Is this shit you find or shit you found other people finding?
No,
me.
he
It'd have to
finds
be-
it,
it's
and
your
people, people look and see what he found for
I'm
the
going
week.
to garage sales. I'm going to thrift stores, state sales, church rummage sales. The weird stuff that I find, and then I just kind of talk about it. I maybe it's the process of kind of cleaning those things up. I found something.
Or talk about the history of like,
Maybe.
like you said, you were talking earlier, super nerded out when you were talking about this piece of furniture you got, and like what it came after this line and all that stuff. Yeah, so
Topped only by his love for Billy West.
That's right. I can't wait to go home and look at his YouTube videos. Maybe that would be my OnlyFans though.
Can I make? Can you look? Can you look when you're doing either your shit? I want some of that uranium glass. I've seen people
The
post that
green
shit.
glass.
the real
Yeah,
ones,
it's
not
like-
the fake
It
kind,
like
the real one.
glows and shit. That's kind of cool.
I saw one lady on TikTok, and she like goes to thrift stores and stuff, and she has a light to make sure it's the real stuff,
Yeah.
not just some fucking fake shit.
It glows bright.
Yeah, I've seen that stuff.
Is
Before.
it
It's really
expensive?
long. I don't come across it a lot, but I think most of the time they end up in like
Museums
like a
and
flea market or like stores that know exactly what they do have.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are cool. I don't see them a lot out there, but
I listened to a podcast one time where they talked about like when they had like those factories that like they used that uranium and they were like building they were assembling like the dials for like airplanes and stuff for the war, and these girls were like, they licked the paintbrush, put it in and dip it in, and and all these people got so fucking sick and just like that was like that was the job they had. They didn't know at the time.
What,
how,
is that the Chris Parnell podcast you're listening to?
no.
What is it?
It was
Chris Parnell is currently doing a podcast about jobs that don't exist.
Oh yeah,
anymore.
no. This one was Crimes of the Century, because then there was this big. There's a big, after that. Yeah, I wish I could find which one it was, but yeah, it was about all that uranium and stuff. They were.
Yeah. It's like
they-
asbestos,
They were,
right?
yeah,
They
they were
just-
doing. They were painting the dials.
Yeah, because it glows.
yeah.
Yeah.
And watches and stuff like that.
Yeah, just
Listen-
shit we have no idea if it's dangerous. Yeah.
Listen to the challenge.
People were putting it. They were putting it in paint for your house. They were putting it on like in fabric because it was such a unique color.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, yeah, and people were eating it like yeah.
Is that the only podcast you're doing right now? Is Challenged?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any aspirations or anything else?
I do want to bring back Internet Freak Show. I think that was a fun one. I just, it takes a lot of time.
Slaying all those bitches, don't have time.
I still think the dad one has legs.
I love the dad one.
The scheduling part's the hard
I know.
part. Yeah.
It is always the
That's
worst
the hardest
part of
part.
a podcast.
Yeah.
is scheduling.
Worst part of a podcast is scheduling.
Is that all you want to plug this episode? Is it Challenged?
That's fine.
He's like, nobody fucking listens.
I plugged.
Hey.
What do you think? How do people contact us, Blake?
They go to couchpodspodcast.com. It's a one-stop shop. Everything you need. Every episode we've ever had. You can email us. You can, search. You search your words. Search. If you search Phantom, this is going to come up. And you can go to our Facebook page. You can email us. You can do any of that stuff all from one place.
Twitter.
Twitter. Be on Twitter.
Deactivate Twitter.
Well, no, for our purposes, be on Twitter because Jason is very active.
We are. I've been really active.
Yeah.
We're going to get Elon on the show. Elon Musk is going to be on the show.
Yeah, and it's a little sneak peek into what we're going to be doing if you're paying attention to the tweets because Jason's trying to get a hold of people. That's what I got. Instagram. Check out our Instagram.
Don't do that. This is a new season of Couch Pilots episode or season 38. You said at the end of every episode this season, you were going to tell people a little bit about what they can expect at CouchCon this year.
Yeah. So obviously in 2022 we couldn't have a CouchCon for legal purposes and a lot of the deaths from what happened in 2001, which was what
At the Superdome and a lot in New Orleans.
Right.
We lost 20,000 strong.
Mm-hmm. Not our fault though.
No, it's not our fault. No. The sea was angry that day.
Yeah. So I've decided there's 10 episodes to this season. So I'm gonna make one announcement every episode.
CouchCon is back, and we got a lot of fun stuff coming your way.
We've saved money for not really saved money, but we have all that couch coin that we got is starting to pick
It's
up.
accumulating. It is a real form of cryptocurrency that Matt Phillips created. Couch coin. That's right.
All right, so season 38, episode 1, the first announcement. First thing you want to know about CouchCon is where's it going to be held?
Absolutely.
The first time we had CouchCon, it was at a shady hotel in Folsom, California.
That's right.
All the way to the Superdome. Mm-hmm. We and everywhere in between. Wembley Stadium. Yeah. Yep.
We did Wembley Stadium. We did one in COVID. We did it over the internet, and that's when we had Kiss perform. Right.
Yep. The first virtual concert they ever had. Well, CouchCon, which we now call CC23.
So
it will be held at Olympic Stadium in South Korea, which has a capacity of 100,000 people.
That's right.
We're going to South Korea, guys, and we're going to Olympic Stadium. It's an amazing, we kind of took a little quick trip over there.
That's in Seoul, right? Seoul, South Korea.
Yeah. And we took a trip out there just to kind of look over the stadium to see if it could handle all of our people, and for sure it can.
I ate my body weight in kombucha out there.
But you know what? You
and
enjoyed
kimchi too.
You enjoyed every second of it.
I love it.
So CouchCon 2013. Again, the date's not set yet. We're not going to announce it yet. It's set, but we're not going to announce it. But it's going to be at Olympic Stadium in South Korea.
There you go. Thank you for that, Blake.
Tim, you want to go?
No.
Okay.
You don't have to.
I'm not going to.
No, seriously, you don't have to if you don't want to.
If you can't.
I don't want to, and I'm not going to go.
All right.
Why don't you want to go to South Korea?
I'll watch the live stream later. It's like a long flight. And
like a long flight.
I don't know. Stadium's kind of small. Kind of cramped.
100,000 people.
It's a little cramped,
Okay.
It's no challenge stadium, that's all.
All right. Here comes his arrogance. Now it's time to tell him to go home. We had fun. Now he's going to start getting arrogant.
Tim, thank you very much for being here. We love having you on.
Anytime.
We had a great time. Thank you for showing up for both weeks. Appreciate it.
Tim is one of those guys. Seriously, when you ask him to come on, he says yes instantly.
Oh yeah,
and he is one of my.
He doesn't
favorite
dread
guys.
it
Thank
like
you,
most
Tim.
people do.
Yeah, a lot of people are going through the motions at this point. Thank you, though. We really
Anytime,
do appreciate
anytime.
it. Hey, this pilot may have been rough, but it's always a smooth flight here on Couch Pilots. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Later.
On behalf of Couch Pilots and the entire crew, we'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the near future. Have a nice day.